Chapter 1978. Dragon Valley. Except for the Dragon Tribe, the Chelan Tribe and the Phoenix Tribe of the three great clans of the Divine Beasts were annihilated. Longao released his terrifying aura to scan around, but he couldn't find Long Jing. Anger. Self-blame. Endless anger and self-blame. At this moment, Longao was like a volcano that was about to erupt. If he hadn't tried to control himself, he would have been enraged. However, Longao was on the verge of exploding. Where was Long Jing? Nothing should happen to Long Jing. Longao? Hearing Black Demon's voice, Longao thought for a while and decided to go there. What if Black Demon knew Long Jing's whereabouts? Dark space. Although Black Demon had reached the Starry Sky Territory Emperor level, he was still sealed here by the Divine Mathematician. Until now, Black Demon didn't know what had happened outside. What's up? At this moment, Longao wasn't afraid of Black Demon. Although he was just a level 8 Starry Sky cultivator and the opponent was the real Starry Sky Territory Master, he wasn't afraid of him at all. Longao, what happened out there? Although he didn't know anything, Black Demon could sense something. Longao didn't conceal anything. He told him everything he knew, including how the Divine Mathematician had defeated 2 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm alone. After listening to him, Black Demon was stunned. He had always thought that even if the Divine Mathematician was a territory ancestor, he couldn't be too strong. However, it seemed that the Divine Mathematician's competence was beyond his imagination. Black Demon, I'm afraid the Divine Mathematician isn't that simple. What do you mean? Intuition told Black Demon that what Longao was about to say would be earth-shaking. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't have done that. I guess the Divine Mathematician isn't just a territory ancestor. Ah, what did Longao mean? The Divine Mathematician wasn't a territory ancestor? Hayamo seemed to have thought of something, but he couldn't believe it. He shook his head and said firmly, "That's impossible. The Divine Mathematician can't be the ruler of the Starry Sky sector." Let alone Black Demon, even the others, including Longao, Chi Tian, and Hong Lin, didn't believe it. However, Longao was sure that Divine Mathematician wasn't the territory ancestor of the Starry Sky. He was the territory master of the Starry Sky. The Starry Sky Realm Master was an invincible existence in the vast Starry Sky. Seeing the expression on Longao's face, Black Demon gradually believed him. He knew very well that there was no need for Longao to trick him, especially when it came to something like this. The God Diviner was actually the master of the Starry Sky sector. Everyone had been too naive. They had thought that the Martial Heaven continent was at the mercy of others. They hadn't thought that they were all chess pieces of the God Diviner, including themselves. Back then, Black Fiend had only been a domain lord. He hadn't even had a chance to fight back against Master God Diviner. He could not figure it out. He simply couldn't figure it out. What Black Demon couldn't figure out was why the Divine Mathematician hadn't killed him back then. Even if the Divine Mathematician wasn't the ruler of the Starry Sky and was just a territory ancestor of the Starry Sky, killing him would be as easy as flipping his hand. Why had he just sealed him here? Even when he had attacked, the Divine Mathematician hadn't killed him. Was there something fishy? Black Demon felt a little desperate. If the Divine Mathematician was really the ruler of the Starry Sky, then he was meat on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Sighing helplessly, Black Demon suddenly asked, "Longao, why did you come to the Dragon Valley so suddenly?" Black Demon knew that Longao was afraid of the Divine Mathematician. He wouldn't destroy the Dragon Valley and the Long family. If that was the case, why had he come here? Black Demon could feel the murderous aura from Longao, which was why he was so curious. "I'm looking for someone." Longao didn't hide anything either. He told Black Demon about Long Jing and said, "Senior Black Demon, please help me search and see if Long Jing is here." "No, Longao. According to what you said, Long Di Tian shouldn't have put Long Jing in the Long family or the Dragon Valley. Remember, the most dangerous place isn't necessarily the safest place. Long Ao had always thought that the most dangerous place was the safest place. For the sake of taking the risk, Long Di Tian might really put Long Jing here. It seemed like he was wrong. Could it be? Long Ao didn't stay any longer. He turned and left. Only Black Demon was left in the dark space. He sighed deeply and muttered to himself, "The ruler of the Starry Sky realm. I really didn't expect the divine mathematician to be the ruler of the Starry Sky realm. The tragedy of that year will repeat itself. No matter who it is, as long as they step into the Heaven Martial realm, they won't be able to leave alive." Sigh. Long Ao left the Dragon Valley and didn't stay for a moment. He didn't dare to imagine whether Long Jing was alive or dead. What if Long Jing had already fallen and Long Di Tian was just lying to him in order to protect his life? If that was the case, everyone would die. Heaven Dao Peak. The current Heaven Dao Alliance was no longer the same as before. The two Alliance Masters had both entered the Starry Sky secret realm, but even so, no one came to cause trouble. The reason was simple: everyone's eyes were on the Domain Ancestor Peak. Who would be so free as to come here? A figure appeared. It was Long Ao. Long Ao had already guessed that other than the Long family and the Dragon Valley, Long Di Tian was most likely hiding Long Jing in the Heaven Dao Alliance. If there was no sign of Long Jing here, then there was only one explanation. Long Jing was most likely dead. Please don't let anything happen to Long Jing. Please don't let anything happen to her. Long Ao tried to release his own aura. In just a few seconds, he had already found Long Jing's whereabouts by relying on his own aura. He was immediately overjoyed because he could clearly sense that Long Jing was fine. He finally heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Long Jing was fine, everything would be easy. Long Ao couldn't wait any longer. He took a step forward and arrived at the back mountain of the Heaven Dao Alliance. If it was any other time, Long Ao would definitely notice that something was wrong with the surroundings. But now, he didn't know if it was because of Long Jing, but as soon as he stepped into the back mountain, he saw Long Jing, who was sealed in the courtyard. Brother Long seeing Long Ao, Long Jing was pleasantly surprised. Long Jing had never thought that she would meet the person she loved at this time. Long Jing's love was different from others. Regardless of whether Long Ao was willing or not, she loved Long Ao wholeheartedly. Otherwise, Long Jing wouldn't have fallen to this place. Silly girl. It was impossible for him not to be touched. Long Ao blamed himself. He wanted to slap himself a few times. He had failed to take good care of such a good girl time and time again. What if something happened to Long Jing? What should he do? How was he going to answer to Long Jing's family? P.S. Copy of the second chapter. Chapter 1979. Just as Long Ao was about to step into the courtyard, suddenly, two beasts appeared around him, glaring at Long Ao. What were these beasts? He had never seen them before. However, Long Ao could clearly sense that the two divine beasts on his left and right were both at the Starry Sky Domain Lord level. Their expressions were grim. Seemed like the heaven's will was prepared to kill with a borrowed knife. Long Ao could almost be sure that this had something to do with the Dragon Emperor Sky and Long Tian. In fact, it might even have something to do with the heaven's will. Lin Fan took in a deep breath. Preemptive strike. Under Long Ao's teleportation, he wielded the Reincarnation Sword and slashed out with the Reincarnation Sword Chi. Slicing through the skies, the Reincarnation Sword Chi slashed out continuously. Sh. The two beasts were strong enough to ignore Long Ao's attacks completely. And this quickly. Long Ao summoned thousands of Starry Sky soul slaves from the Dragon Seal space and surrounded the two Starry Sky divine beasts. Continuous attacks. The defense of the soul slaves was perverse. Even if it were two region lords, they would not be able to destroy the soul slaves in a short period of time. With a single step, Longao disappeared from where he was. Courtyard, looking at the person she loved so close to her, Long Jing's body began to tremble. Back when she left the dragon sect to search for Longao, she had not expected to meet someone from the Long family. After being sealed for 2 whole years, Long Jing did not complain at all. "Big brother Long, is it really you?" Nodding his head towards this silly girl, Longao did not want to think about anything else. Stretching out his arms, he hugged Long Jing tightly. "Big brother Long, you've accepted me?" Long Jing was no fool. She knew clearly that Big Brother Long's actions at this moment meant that he had accepted her. Was this for real? Long Jing could not believe that this was the moment she had been waiting for. "From now on, you're Longao's woman." A simple sentence that did not need to be said. "Let's go. I'll take you away." Longao quickly left with Long Jing. As for the 2 domain Lord Realm divine beasts, there was no need for him to act. Even if the Starry Sky soul slaves could not kill the 2 Starry Sky divine beasts, it was no longer important. Longao didn't care about the life and death of the 2 space god beasts. It was fine as long as Long Jing was fine. Longao and Long Jing had just left the Heavenly Tao Union when over 1,000 Starry Sky soul slaves disappeared. The 2 Starry Sky divine beasts were completely dumbfounded. They didn't know what was going on. The other party was just a small grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator, yet he could leave safely. How could he explain this to Sir? Longao took Long Jing and didn't return to the Territory Ancestor Peak. The Starry Sky Territory Ancestor's godhead wasn't important. Long Jing was more important. At the peak of a secluded mountain, the 2 of them sat on the ground and watched the sun slowly rise in the distance. Long Jing happily leaned on Longao's shoulder, and the 2 of them sat quietly like this for the entire night. "Big brother Long, am I really going to devour the Starry Sky godhead?" At this moment, Long Jing was just a divine realm warrior. Not to mention Starry Sky cultivators, even Nirvana realm warriors still had a long way to go. How could his woman be so weak? Longao couldn't guarantee that he would be by Long Jing's side all the time. Although he was strong, he wasn't as strong as Long Jing. Thus, even if he wasn't by her side, Long Jing could still protect herself. "Jing-er, I've prepared 9 Starry Sky God sparks for you. Take them one by one. I will help you refine them." The 9 Starry Sky God sparks were Grade 1, Grade 2, Grade 3, Grade 4, Grade 5, Grade 6, Grade 7, Grade 8, and Grade 9 Starry Sky God spark. Swallowing the Starry Sky God sparks one by one was much faster than swallowing the Grade 9 Starry Sky God sparks directly. Today, with Long Fu's help, this speed could be shortened by several times. Long Jing was very obedient. She nodded and said with a smile, "Brother Long, don't worry. I will swallow the Starry Sky God sparks one by one. I will try to break through to the Starry Sky realm in the shortest time." Long Jing was very clear about her situation. If it were several years ago, with her strength, even if she couldn't conquer the entire continent, she could do whatever she wanted. But now, divine realm warriors were like children to her. The stronger she was, the more Brother Long would be at ease. After Long Jing swallowed the 9 Starry Sky God sparks, Longao brought her to the Territory Ancestor Peak. He had made up his mind. No matter what happened, he would take as many Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads as he could get. In total, Huang Xiaolong had obtained 3 Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Godheads. 1 for Shirpatian, 1 for Yibu, and 1 for Ebai. He had to snatch a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead for Jing-er. No matter what the others did, he had to make Jing-er a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead first. Then, he would be more at ease. Territory Ancestor Peak. Old Ancestor, although we have Long Jing under our control and Lord Heavenly Tao has promised us that Long Ao will die if he dares to go to the Heaven Tao Union, I don't know why I have a bad feeling about this. If Heavenly Tao hadn't entered the Star Secret Realm, It wouldn't have been easy for Longao to take Long Jing away from the Heaven Tao Union. His life might have been in danger. However, the situation had changed. Heavenly Tao had entered the star's secret realm and left only 2 territorial Lord Realm divine beasts behind. It would be hard to stop Longao. Putting aside Longao's strength, his soul slave army was enough to stop the 2 territorial Lord Realm divine beasts. Before Long Tian could say anything, his expression suddenly changed. It wasn't just Long Tian, even the other 3 people were shocked. They stared at the 2 people who walked in from the entrance. One was Longao, the other was Long Jing. In just 2 days, not only had Longao rescued Long Jing, but he had also returned successfully. The 4 of them instantly understood what had happened. Heavenly Tao didn't plan any attack. The 4 of them no longer had anything to rely on. Now, Longao didn't have any scruples. What should the 4 of them do? Retreat? The 4 of them rushed to the entrance at the same time. Their speed was getting faster and faster. However, Longao already had the intention to kill them. How could he let the 4 of them leave? He took Long Jing and teleported. In the next second, he blocked the 4 of them. He smiled and asked, "Where are you going?" The 4 of them had ugly expressions on their faces because they were surrounded by Yi Bu and Yi Bai. Were the 4 of them really going to die here? Longao, we belong to the Sky Martial Continent. Why do you have to make this situation worse? As long as you are willing, the 4 of us can choose to submit to you and the Dragon Sect. What do you think? In the face of death, the 4 of them were afraid. Even if they weren't willing, they could only choose to compromise. Author's note: the 3rd chapter is here. Chapter 1980. Accept or refuse. The 4 of them were domain lords. If they were willing to submit to him through the bloodline contract, it might not be a bad thing. However, looking at Long Jing, Longao's heart hardened. The 4 of them had touched Longao's bottom line. Kill! With that order, Yi Bu and Yi Bai, who were on the left and right, did not hesitate at all. They immediately rushed toward the 4 people. Hearing Longao's words, the 4 of them paled. Although they knew they weren't a match for the 2 domain ancestors, they didn't sit still and wait for death. Not to mention 1 against 2, even 2 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky territory could easily kill 4 of them. This was the absolute difference in power. The 4 of them who had been lively just a moment ago were now 4 corpses lying on the ground. Longao didn't take their Yuan spirit. He chose to destroy them. Since then, among the 10 great powers, other than the Heaven and Earth sect and the Dragon sect, the other 8 superpowers had been destroyed, including the 3 divine beast races. Now, only the primordial divine dragon and the 9 firmaments divine dragon were left. However, Longao was very clear that with the fall of the 4 people, whether it was the 9 firmaments divine dragon or the primordial divine dragon, they did not dare to act rashly. The 2 domain divine beasts didn't dare to oppose him. After destroying the 4 of them, Longao's enemies on the Martial Heaven continent had been killed. However, he wasn't happy at all. Instead, he felt a bit sad. So what if he took revenge? He had thought that the domain ancestors were the true peak of the martial path, but now he found that there was an even stronger existence above them. The domain lord of the Starry Sky. The godly mathematician was very likely the domain lord of the Starry Sky. Furthermore, he didn't know whether the godly mathematician was a friend or a foe. That wasn't all. The domain lord of the Starry Sky wasn't an invincible existence. The true ruler of the vast Starry Sky wasn't the domain lord or the godly mathematician, but the 12 domain lords. The domain lords of the 5 elements domain, the devouring domain lord, the lightning domain lord, the space domain lord, the time domain lord, the destruction domain lord, the transmigration domain lord, the slaughter domain lord, the divine calculation domain lord, the sword domain lord, the indestructible tyrant body domain lord, and the darkness domain lord. Although the 12 domain lords of the Starry Sky had all died, Were they really dead? Long Ao's intuition told him that the 12 rulers of stars hadn't truly perished. He sighed deeply. Brother Long, what's wrong? Long Jing was a meticulous woman. She could sense that Brother Long beside her was a little different. He smiled and nodded. I'm fine. I just thought of something. He didn't want to dwell on this problem any longer. Yibu, Ibai, we're going to try our best to get a Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. No problem. Yibu and Ibai were very clear about Long Ao's intention of going all out to compete for the Universal Star Domain Ancestor Godhead, and they understood everything just by looking at the girl beside them. Putting aside the fact that they had chosen to submit to Huang Xiaolong, just the fact that Long Ao had given them a Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead was enough for them to be grateful. Even if he had to die, he had to help Long Ao snatch a Star Territory Ancestors Godhead. The 4 of them walked to another area and waited quietly. They had already obtained enough keys. As for whether they would be able to enter the Starry Sky Secret Realm in 10 months, that was another matter altogether. Long Ao's group was waiting for the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. Brother Long, I don't want to swallow the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. How could Long Ao not understand Long Jing's intention? In Long Jing's eyes, the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead meant something. As the pinnacle existence in the vast universe, the value of the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead was too high. Jing-er, you're the most important person to me. You must swallow the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. When your cultivation base breaks through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm, I'll be more at ease. Long Jing seemed to want to say something, but Long Ao beat her to it. Yibu, Ibai, are you two strong enough to resist Qi Tian and Hong Lin? Long Ao was clear about his own strength, and it was almost impossible for him to defeat the 2 of them. The only thing he could rely on was Yibu and Ibai's power. If Shurpatian could break through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm, their chances of defeating the 2 of them would be greatly increased. Ibai and Yibu exchanged looks. Yibu said helplessly, Master, although Ibai and I have broken through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm, we need 3 years to stabilize our realms. The fastest is 1 year. I'm afraid we won't be able to defeat the 2 of them even after 3 years. They were telling the truth. Long Ao had guessed it. After all, breaking through by swallowing the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm and cultivating on one's own were 2 different things. If the 2 of them hadn't swallowed the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm and relied on their own efforts to cultivate, the current situation would be completely different. He had no choice. He couldn't take the risk. It wasn't easy to cultivate the 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm. If something happened to them, Long Ao had decided that as long as they didn't provoke him, he wouldn't provoke them. As for whether Qi Tian and Hong Lin could leave the Heaven Martial Plane in the future, it was still unknown. Long Ao had guessed that the Divine Mathematician's reason for opening the passage wasn't simple. With the Divine Mathematician's power, not to mention the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm, he wouldn't be afraid even if the Starry Sky Territory Lord came. The keys to open the Starry Sky Secret Domain appeared one after another. In just 1 month, more than 150 keys had appeared. In order to snatch the keys, more than 1,000 cultivators had fallen, and the number was still increasing. Everyone was depressed because after the 3 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads, there hadn't been another Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godhead. However, no one dared to leave because no one knew when the next Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godhead would appear. What if the next Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godhead appeared when they left? Thinking that Long Ao had already obtained 3 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads, everyone was filled with regret. If they had known, they would have gotten the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads first. Especially the Territory Ancestor Qi Tian and Hong Lin, they were filled with regret. If they hadn't fought, the 3 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads wouldn't have landed in Longao's hands. However, it was too late to regret now. They could only hope that Longao wouldn't touch the remaining 7 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads. In fact, both of them knew that it was impossible. With Longao's personality, if he had chosen to give up on the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads, he would have left long ago. However, Longao's group of 4 was still here. This could only mean one thing: Longao's ambition was too great. He wasn't satisfied with just 3 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads. He wanted more Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm Godheads. Author's note: copy of Chapter 4. Chapter 1981. 1 month later, the 4th Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead appeared. However, this Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead was different. There was a seal around the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. It was the Star World Seal. Sensing this Astral World Seal, everyone had already guessed what was going on. The Divine Mathematician wasn't the so-called Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. He was the legendary Starry Sky Territory Lord. Unbelievable. Everyone was dumbstruck. No one had guessed that the Divine Mathematician was a Starry Sky Territory Lord, a peerless expert who could control a part of the universe. No one was bothered about whether the Divine Mathematician was the Starry Sky Territory Lord or not. In their eyes, whether the Divine Mathematician was a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor or a Starry Sky Territory Lord didn't make much of a difference. Everyone rushed madly towards the seal, trying to snatch the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads. The 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors and Longao's group of 4 didn't move. The 6 of them had guessed that the seal wasn't that simple. Could an ordinary person possibly break the seal of the astral world that Master God Diviner had set up? Just as expected, everyone started to attack the Star World Seal crazily, but to no avail. Even with more than 50,000 Starry Sky cultivators attacking together, they couldn't break the seal. The more they failed, the more regretful they felt. When Longao had snatched the 3 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads, there was no Star World Seal. Now, the 4th Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead had a Star World Seal. Everyone could only watch but couldn't snatch it. 99% of them gave up. Some were unwilling to give up, so they kept attacking the Star World Seal. However, their efforts were in vain. "Master, what should we do? What should we do?" Longao didn't attack immediately because he knew clearly that if the Divine Mathematician had chosen to release the 10 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads, he would have a chance. Chi Tian and Hong Lin also had the same thought as Longao. Both sides were observing carefully, trying to find the flaw in the Star World Seal to see if they could hit it in one strike. The Star World Seal's aura shrouded the entire place. Everyone was stunned. No one dared to move, including the 4 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors. They had a feeling that if they dared to move, they would be obliterated by the Star World Seal's aura. No one knew how powerful Starry Sky borrowing was. The Starry Sky Realm Lord was a legend. Master God Diviner suddenly appeared. Looking at the people in front of him, he stepped on the void and said coldly, "From now on, no one is allowed to leave the Territory Ancestor Peak. 10 months later, whoever has the key can enter the Star Secret Domain. Those who don't have the key will stay here forever." As soon as he finished speaking, the God Diviner's figure disappeared without a trace. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. What did the clairvoyant mean? In other words, out of more than 50,000 Starry Sky cultivators, at most, less than 1,000 people would survive. With 1,000 keys, it was impossible to say that everyone would be able to obtain a key. What if there was someone who could obtain several keys, or even more than 10 keys? There were hundreds of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators, but in less than a year, They had already lost more than 99,000, leaving only less than 1,000. What kind of concept was that? Even if there were more than 1,000 people left, would they still be safe? Not necessarily. This was because after 10 months, those who obtained the key would all enter the Starry Sky secret realm. As for how many of them would be able to leave alive, that was unknown. Whether it was Territory Ancestor Chi Tian or Territory Ancestor Honglin, their faces were extremely ugly. They had already guessed it. Now, as they had expected, no one would be able to leave alive after entering the Sky Martial Realm. 10,000 years ago, some people had also entered, but it seemed that they were also doomed. Since it had come to this, what else could they do? No matter what, they couldn't leave. With Master God Diviner's words, the value of the key had increased. Everyone knew that if they couldn't obtain the key to enter the Star Secret Realm, it meant death. Out of more than 50,000 Starry Sky cultivators, only a little more than 1,000 would survive. Keys would continue to appear, but the competition would become more intense. In the past, 10 people would die trying to snatch a key, but now 100 people would die. It was 10 times more than before, and this was just the beginning. As time went by, the competition would become even more bloody. Longao and the others still didn't move. Whether it was Longao's group or Chi Tian's group, they didn't care about the keys anymore. After all, it was useless to have more keys. To them, the most important thing was the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. Master, I found the weak point. If the 3 of you work together, you should be able to break it. He was overjoyed. Longao knew clearly that the Star World's seal laid down by Master God Diviner must have a weak point. Otherwise, Master God Diviner wouldn't be so troublesome. Longao can break the Star World seal? Hong Lin and Chi Tian sneered when they saw Longao preparing to attack. They knew Longao's strength very well. He was a grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator. Even if Yi Bu and Yi Bai joined forces, the 3 of them couldn't break the Star World's seal. Not to mention the 3 of them, even if the 2 of them joined forces, they still wouldn't be able to break the Star World's seal. In other words, Hong Lin and Hong Lin believed that they couldn't obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. This was just a game played by Master God Diviner. Yi Bu and Yi Bai didn't have any objections. After all, if Longao said to attack, they would attack. As for whether they could break the Star World's seal, they already knew the answer in their hearts. However, Longao had already given each of them a Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. Thus, they would do their best to help Longao obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead for Long Jing. Master, what should we do? The 3 of us will attack this point with all our strength. Remember, we only have one chance. Longao knew clearly that if this attack failed to break the Star World's seal, it would be discovered by others. At that time, it would be troublesome if he wanted to continue to snatch the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors Godhead. Yi Bu and Yi Bai also knew the seriousness of the matter. They nodded and Long Jing retreated to the side. The 3 of them came to the front of the Star World seal. As for the surrounding people, they retreated. If the 3 of them suddenly attacked, wouldn't it be a massacre? Chi Tian and Hong Lin sneered as they watched. If Longao's group of 3 could break the Star World seal, it would be a miracle. The 3 of them were looking at the same point. If Long Fu hadn't sensed it, no one would be able to break the Star World seal. Attack! The 3 of them attacked with all their strength. Longao even used Shatter the Starry Sky. The 3 of them attacked with all their strength. Even the Territory Ancestor Chi Tian and Hong Lin didn't dare to take it head-on. Author's note: the 5th chapter is here. Chapter 1982. Boom! After a loud explosion, the seal on the Star World was broken. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw that the seal had been broken open. They didn't know how Longao did it. Both Territory Ancestor Hong Lin and Territory Ancestor Chi Tian dashed out in a blink of an eye. However, How could they be faster than Longao? In the next second, the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead was in Longao's hand. Longao, get lost. Without dodging, Longao's group attacked with all their strength. The two territory ancestors managed to dodge, but the dozens of cultivators were killed. Looking at the dozens of corpses on the ground, who dared to go up? Everyone was scared silly. Each and every one of them looked at Longao in horror. They were afraid and hateful. Longao had taken another Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. Counting, Longao had obtained 4 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads. There were only 10 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads, and Longao had obtained 4 of them. There were only 6 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads left, and no one knew what had happened. If they appeared normally, as long as they were careful, the others would have a chance. But now, the situation was different. If the remaining 6 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads were sealed by the Star World, the others wouldn't have a chance. If Longao could break the seal the first time, he could break it the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, and even the 6th time. In this case, did it mean that the remaining 6 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godheads would all be taken by Longao? No one was willing to do that. Longao, you've crossed the line. Gritting their teeth, they hated that they couldn't kill Longao. But could they do it? Not to mention the others, even the 2 territory ancestors didn't dare to say they could do it. Ignoring the others, Longao held the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead in his hand and smiled. Jing swallow this Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead first. I'll take care of the rest. She nodded obediently. Although Long Jing was very worried about Longao's safety, she chose to believe in Longao. He directly chose to devour the Star Domain Ancestor's Godhead. Longao knew that Long Jing's starting point was too low. Even if she had devoured 9 Starry Sky Godheads and 1 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, it wouldn't be easy for her to break through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Since you can't break the seal, who can you blame? He was rendered speechless by Longao's words. Snatching the universal Star Domain Ancestor Godhead depended on one's own ability. No one could break the seal of the astral world, but many people were still unconvinced. Longao, even if you can break the seal on the Star World, there is no need for you to take away all the Godheads. He sneered. Longao didn't back down in the slightest. Instead, he said domineeringly, "If you aren't convinced, I welcome you to kill me. If I die, I won't touch the remaining universal ancestral Godhead." Did anyone dare to make a move? Seeing that no one dared to make a move, Longao continued, "Since you don't dare to make a move, shut up. If you provoke me, not to mention the universal Star Domain Ancestor Godhead, I'll even snatch the key. At that time, less than 100 people will be able to leave this place alive." A threat. A blatant threat. However, no one doubted Longao's words. He could even snatch the universal Star Domain Ancestor Godhead, not to mention the key to open the Star Secret Realm. If they couldn't get the universal Star Domain Ancestor Godhead, they wouldn't die. However, if they couldn't get the key, they wouldn't be able to leave this place alive after 9 months. Compromise? 99% of them chose to compromise and leave slowly. After thinking about it, they decided to be safe. As long as they could snatch the key, they wouldn't touch the universal Star Domain Ancestor Godhead. The 2 universal Star Domain Ancestors, Hong Lin Territory Ancestor and Qi Tian Territory Ancestor. The 3 universal Star Domain Emperors, Ouyang Tuo, Lin Yi, and Li Mei. None of the Starry Sky Domain Emperors and Starry Sky Domain Lords were willing to leave. After all, the Starry Sky Domain Emperors and Starry Sky Domain Lords knew that if they could obtain the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor's Godhead and break through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm, their chances of survival would increase greatly even if they entered the Starry Sky Secret Domain. Longao, you've obtained 4 universal star domain ancestor godheads. I hope you can stop. What do you think? Due to Longao and the 2 universal star domain ancestors' strength, no one was willing to pursue this matter. After all, the 4 universal star domain ancestor godheads had been devoured. Even if they fought to the death, they wouldn't be able to retrieve the universal star domain ancestor godheads. Everyone only hoped for one thing, and that was that Longao would not attack again. There were still 6 universal star domain ancestor godheads. As long as Longao didn't make a move, it wasn't a bad thing. Everyone was afraid that Longao wouldn't let go of the remaining 6 universal star domain ancestor godheads. If that was the case, everyone knew that no one could snatch the universal star domain ancestor godheads faster than Longao. It was basically impossible to break the seal of the universal star domain ancestor godhead. Until now, there was still no one who could figure out how Longao did it. Would Longao agree? Longao smiled and said, "I've already said it. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. If you're not convinced, you can make a move. As long as you can defeat me, not to mention letting go, I can even give you my life." Longao pulled Long Jing's hand and left with the 2 of them. He completely ignored the crowd and his intention was clear. Longao wouldn't give up on the remaining 6 cosmic domain ancestor godhead. Once they appeared, he would try to get his hands on them without hesitation. What could they do? Take action? Join hands? Would it work? They weren't confident that they could kill Longao. Qi Tian territory ancestor and Hong Lin territory ancestor sighed deeply. They had seen monstrous, arrogant, and overbearing people, but they had never seen someone like Longao. Left with no choice, they could only compromise and hope that the seal of the universal star domain ancestor godheads wouldn't appear again. That way, when the universal star domain ancestor godheads appeared again, they would have a chance to snatch them. Even the 2 universal star domain ancestor had chosen to compromise. What about the others? "Master, you're really overbearing." Yibu and Yi were astonished because they had never thought that Longao, who was just a level 8 universal star domain cultivator, wouldn't be afraid of any universal star experts, including the 2 universal star domain ancestors. The 2 of them were very clear that Longao's overbearingness wasn't because of the 2 of them. It was because Longao's overbearingness was already there before the 2 of them. If it were other people, would they dare to be like this? Some people are cheap. The more you retreat, the more they'll chase after you. Rather than that, we should be tougher. I know them too well. In this situation, no one dares to take action. P.S. Copy the 6th chapter. Chapter 1983. What he said made sense. However, both of them knew that only the master could do such a thing. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to do it. No one could replicate the master's domineering nature. "Master, even if Madam has devoured 9 starry sky godheads and the starry sky domain ancestor godhead, it's not easy for her to improve quickly. What do you mean?" Longao was very clear that Yibu's words had an underlying meaning, just as he had expected. "Master, if we can get the starry sky domain Lord Godhead, starry sky domain Emperor Godhead, and starry sky domain Emperor Godhead, I believe Madam's cultivation speed will increase greatly after she devours them." Longao already knew what Yibu meant. From the rank 1 starry sky domain Emperor Godhead to the starry sky domain Ancestor Godhead, starry sky domain Lord Godhead, starry sky domain Emperor Godhead, and starry sky domain Emperor Godhead. Since he said so, he did it. Longao led the 3 of them to kill the starry sky domain Lord, starry sky domain Emperor, and starry sky domain Emperor. With the 3 of them strength, they managed to kill a starry sky domain Lord and starry sky domain Emperor in a few minutes. The remaining 3 starry sky domain Emperors were Ouyang Tuo, Lin Yi, and Li Mei. With regards to Longao's meaning, everyone already knew in their hearts that everyone was in danger. On the contrary, the weak people were relieved. 3 of you, which one of you is willing to sacrifice yourself? Longao's meaning was clear. The 3's faces turned gloomy. This was simply a humiliation. But what could the 3 of them do? After all, the other party's strength was there for all to see. He even had the help of 2 starry sky domain ancestors. If they didn't hand over one of them, all 3 of them would be in danger. Not willing? Longao's rhetorical question made the 3's faces even gloomier. F***ck, who would be willing to die? Longao, you've gone too far. Winner takes all. If your strength was far above mine, I believe you would do the same. I didn't have any complaints when the 3 of you joined hands to hunt me down. What do you think? The winner takes all, and the loser takes all. Strength is everything, and the strong are respected. How could the 3 of them not understand such a simple logic? But even so, there was no reason for him to stand out and die unless there was something wrong with his head. Looking at the faces of the 3 people, Longao suddenly smiled and said, "Since you guys aren't willing to choose, then I'll do you guys a favor. The 3 of you can start fighting now. The loser will become my food. After 1 minute, if you guys still don't start fighting, I'll personally take action." Longao slowly retreated with the 3 of them. When they were about 100 meters away, the 4 of them stopped. War? Or not to start a war? If they started a war, wouldn't they become clowns? If they didn't start the battle, then once Longao made his move, the 3 of them would most likely suffer. The 3 of them looked at each other. In such a situation, only one of them could survive. Thinking of this, the 3 of them moved at the same time. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them had already started fighting. The battle between the 3 great starry sky domain emperors was extremely earth-shattering. Moreover, it was a battle of life and death. Many people had already gathered around to watch. Everyone shook their heads helplessly. The 3 starry sky domain emperors, even in the vast starry sky, were existences that no one dared to provoke. However, in a small middle-rank plane, they were forced to such a state by a little starry sky cultivator. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have found it hard to believe. As for Qi Tian Territory Ancestor and Hong Lin Territory Ancestor, they didn't come to watch. Although the 3 of them were fighting, they felt that they had lost face. Everyone was suppressed by Longao. The battle between the 3 of them was getting faster and faster. Under the crazy attacks, Ouyang Tua couldn't resist anymore. Among the 3 starry sky domain emperors, only Ouyang Tua was a man. The other 2, Lin Yi and Li Mei, were women. Unnaturally, the 2 women slowly began to join forces to attack Ouyang Tua. In this case, under the situation of 1 against 2, Ouyang Tua's end could already be imagined. Crack! Ouyang Tua was hit hard. The 2 women didn't hesitate at all. Since things had come to this point, they should take advantage of his weakness and kill him. Enough? Longao stopped the 2 women. Longao, what do you mean? The 2 women were afraid. If they were in the vast sea of stars, they could run away or hide. They believed that it wouldn't be easy to find them in this vast sea of stars. But now, because of the seal on the Territory Ancestor Peak, they couldn't leave the peak. Not only them, but the 2 starry sky domain ancestors couldn't leave either. In this case, as long as Longao wanted to, he could kill them anytime. Longao alone was troublesome enough, let alone the 2 starry sky domain ancestors. In fact, the 2 women admired Yi Bu and Yi by a lot. If they could swallow the starry sky domain ancestor god divinity and break through to the starry sky domain ancestor realm, they would be willing to submit to Longao. However, they had missed the chance. Even if they wanted to submit to him, Longao wouldn't want them. Ouyang Tua, bye-bye. Longao didn't hesitate and took action to kill Ouyang Tua. With his competence, refining the starry sky god divinity wasn't an easy task. However, with Long Fu's help, it would take less time. Longao was a man of his words. He only needed 1 person. The other 2 women were nothing in his eyes. In this place, besides the two starry sky domain ancestors, Longao could kill anyone he wanted. Longao, wait a minute. What's the matter? He was curious as he didn't know why they called him. Although he didn't want to kill them, it didn't mean that they were friends. As long as he had a chance, he wouldn't hesitate to kill them. Whether they were men or women, they were the same in Longao's eyes. Longao, we want to submit to you. Do you agree? If this matter was spread out, no one would believe it. Two starry sky domain emperors were begging a level 8 starry sky cultivator to submit to him. What was wrong with this world? The two women were nervous because they didn't know if Longao would agree or not. What if he didn't? Where would they put their faces? No matter what, they were still women. Your request. Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew that they wouldn't submit to him for no reason. After all, they were starry sky domain emperors. Was it because of the starry sky domain ancestor god divinity? Besides this reason, he couldn't think of any other reason why they would submit to him for no reason. Longao, we don't have any conditions. Is that true? Longao smiled. The two women retreated in order to advance. It was a good plan. Pondering for a while, Longao nodded and said, Bloodline contract. P.S. Delivered to the 7th chapter. Chapter 1984. Bloodline contract? Whether it was Lin Yi or Li Mei, of course, they knew what Longao meant. Once they chose to sign the bloodline contract, it meant that in the future, Longao could kill them with a single thought. This was the overbearing power of the bloodline contract. If it were in the past, they would never agree. As starry sky domain emperors, not to mention a grade 8 starry sky cultivator, they wouldn't even submit to a starry sky territory ancestor. But now, the situation was completely different. They knew that Longao had agreed, but they weren't sure if Longao would agree or not. They hurried. Without the slightest hesitation, they nodded. Seeing that the two starry sky domain emperors were willing to sign the bloodline contract and submit to Longao, everyone was dumbfounded. The gap between the two sides was too big. Even if they chose to submit, it would be Longao submitting to the two starry sky domain emperors, not the other way around. The order was messed up. What were they after? Were they after the starry sky territory ancestor godhead? However, they didn't get the starry sky territory ancestor godhead for nothing. In exchange, they would be trapped. After they chose to sign the bloodline contract, they would lose their freedom. Of all the people in the surroundings, some were envious and jealous, while others were mocking and disdainful. Kill! An order was given. Yi Bu and Yi Bai's figures dashed out, killing whoever they saw. Everyone ran in all directions in fright because Longao seemed to have lost his mind. Under such circumstances, he still dared to kill everyone. Even so, with the two's speed and strength, they still killed more than 100 starry sky cultivators. No one dared to scold them. After all, Longao's strength was obvious. Provoking Longao at this time was a dead end. They would hide as far as they could. Welcome, both of you. You will get one starry sky territory ancestor godhead each. The two women didn't show any expression on their faces, but they were pleasantly surprised. The biggest reason they had chosen to submit to Longao was because of the starry sky territory ancestors godhead. In total, Longao had obtained 4 universal domain ancestor godheads, while Yi Bu and Yi Bai had also obtained universal domain ancestor godheads. In 3 short days, they had broken through to the universal domain ancestor realm. Take a gamble. The two of them choosing to submit was actually a gamble. If they lost the bet, they would just die. In any case, they already knew that they wouldn't be able to leave the Heaven Martial Realm alive after stepping into it. If he won the bet, not only would he not die, but he could also devour the Universal Star Territory Ancestor Godhead and break through to the Universal Star Territory Ancestor Realm. Hearing Longao's words, both of them knew that they had made the right bet this time. Based on Longao's current situation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to obtain more universal domain ancestor godheads. Thinking that they would soon be able to devour the universal star territory ancestor godheads and break through to the universal star territory ancestor realm, they were ecstatic. "Thank you, Master." Both of them saluted respectfully. Longao's team expanded once again. From Yibu and Yi-Bai at the beginning, there were now 2 more Starry Sky Domain Emperors. If he could obtain 2 universal domain ancestor godheads, Longao was confident that he could create 2 more universal domain ancestor realm experts in 3 short days. At that time, no one on the domain ancestor peak would be his match. He wouldn't even need to be wary of the territory ancestor Qi Tian and Hong Lin territory ancestor. The next step was to obtain 2 more universal domain ancestor godhead. Longao's group of 6 didn't move. They didn't even touch the key that appeared. Whether it was Longao's group of 6 or Qi Tian's group of 2, all of them were waiting for the 5th universal domain ancestor godhead to appear. 9-headed universal python. Universal domain ancestor realm divine beast. Looking at the 9-headed python that appeared, everyone was stupefied. Regarding the legendary Starry Sky 9-headed python, all the Starry Sky cultivators from the vast Starry Sky were no stranger to it. Although the 9-headed universal python was just a universal domain ancestor, its true strength was something that even the universal domain ancestor had to avoid. Wahahaha, this time I can eat my fill. Laughing crazily, the 9-headed universal python that had just appeared started to attack crazily. Everyone had already guessed that this was the marvelous mathematician's plan. The 9-headed universal python was too powerful. It could swallow cultivators in the universe alive. The 9 heads didn't even pause for a moment. 1 for you, 1 for me, and 1 for him. 1 mouthful, or strictly speaking, 9 mouthfuls, represented the fall of 9 Starry Sky cultivators. It was too terrifying. Longao's group of 6 was a little shocked. They were worried about Longjing's safety. After all, her cultivation hadn't broken through to the universal domain ancestor realm, let alone the universal domain ancestor realm. Currently, Longjing was still in the divine path realm. With such strength, not to mention the 9-headed universal python, any random cultivator in the universe could easily kill Longjing. Because of this, Longao thought for a while and decided to let Longjing enter the dragon seal space first. As for the other 4 people, Longao asked, "Are the 4 of you going to enter my spatial artifact, or are you going to follow me to fight? Fight with the 9-headed universal python?" That was simply courting death. However, since Longao had said so, what else could the 4 of them say? Would they leave a bad impression on Longao? "We swear to follow Master to death." "Alright." Longao was very excited because he had already made a decision. The 4th, 5th, and 6th floors of the 7 orifices exquisite pagoda were all vacant. The 9-headed starry python's strength was enough to become the guardian of the 6th floor of the 7 orifices exquisite pagoda. Moreover, the 9-headed starry python was very powerful. If it could become the guardian of the 7 orifices exquisite pagoda, it would mean a lot. However, Longao didn't act recklessly. After all, the 9-headed universal python's strength was there. If he was careless, he would be swallowed by the 9-headed universal python. The consequences would be unimaginable. "The 4 of you follow me closely." The 4 of them didn't underestimate Longao at all. Previously, Longao was really a 3rd-level Starry Sky cultivator, but he dared to resist the universal domain ancestor. Before that, they had never seen such an arrogant and overbearing person. That was why the 4 of them were willing to follow Longao. The 9-headed universal python's body was too huge. It was more than 100 meters long. At first glance, it looked like a moving mountain. Blood-curdling screams arose one after another. At the same time, each scream meant the death of a Starry Sky cultivator. The nine-headed universal python's speed and strength were very fast, as if it wanted to swallow everyone. Chi Tian Territory Ancestor and Hong Lin Territory Ancestor hid far away. They didn't care about the others' lives. The nine-headed universal python didn't attack the two territory ancestors. Chapter 1985. The nine-headed starry sky python wasn't a fool. Even if it was strong, it couldn't defeat two territory ancestors. Once the two joined hands, it would be a big trouble for it. Seeing the two territory ancestors not taking action, the nine-headed starry sky python was thrilled. It could swallow anyone under the starry sky emperor realm. The remaining two starry sky territory emperors, Lin Yi and Li Mei, had two starry sky territory ancestors with them. The starry sky nine-headed python didn't dare to attack Longao's group. It was looking for opportunities. Yi Bu, Yi Bai, take action. The five of them took action at the same time, crazily attacking the nine-headed starry sky python. Being attacked, the nine-headed starry sky python was enraged. However, it didn't dare to be careless. Anyway, the other side had two territory ancestors and two territory emperors. The nine-headed starry sky python didn't put Longao in its eyes. People around were running away crazily as if they had just escaped from death. At this moment, those who survived were grateful to Longao. Although they knew that Longao wouldn't save them, without Longao's help, they couldn't have escaped alive. Territory ancestors Chi Tian and Hong Lin were also frightened. What was wrong with Longao? They understood clearly that as long as Longao didn't take action, the nine-headed starry sky python wouldn't attack. He could have dodged it easily. Why did he have to take action? Crazy. Did Longao want to subdue the nine-headed starry sky python? It didn't seem possible. However, they were sure that Longao wouldn't attack the nine-headed starry sky python for no reason if he didn't benefit from it. The five of them joined hands to deal with the nine-headed starry sky python. No matter how strong the nine-headed starry sky python was, it couldn't defeat the five of Longao's team. Longao, I'm here to help you. Right at this moment, a shadow shot out from Longao's body. It was a small black pagoda. It was the Seven Orifices Exquisite Pagoda. The small black tower instantly grew bigger, 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 and bigger continuously. In a few seconds, the small black pagoda had turned into a giant black pagoda with 7 floors. Subdued. I refuse to accept this. The nine-headed python did not expect to stumble into the legendary 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda at this moment. The nine-headed starry sky python was confident to fight against a territory ancestor of the starry sky. Only the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda in front of him didn't have any power to resist. Whoosh! The nine-headed starry sky python had already been suppressed. Looking at the small black pagoda in his hand, Longao was a little dumbfounded. According to Exquisite, the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda was temporarily unable to help him. But now? The starry sky nine-headed python is very suitable for the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda. It was a simple sentence, but Longao already understood what it meant. In the end, it was Exquisite who had taken a fancy to the starry sky nine-headed python, which coincided with his thoughts. Longao suppressed the nine-headed starry sky python? He was not surprised. Longao's miraculous deeds had made people numb. Not to mention suppressing the nine-headed starry sky python, even killing a territory ancestor of the starry sky territory wasn't something strange. Not to mention the others, even Yi Bu and Yi Bai were a little dumbstruck. They had never thought that their master could be so powerful that he could suppress the nine-headed starry sky python. Moreover, the latter didn't have any power to resist. You too, start refining the starry sky territory ancestor's godhead. You must succeed in 3 days. Yes, master. Lin Yi and Li Mei, of course, knew what their master meant. In this case, if they couldn't refine the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor's godhead and become the territory ancestor of the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm, it would be troublesome. Lin Yi and Li Mei disappeared in a flash. Longao didn't ask them if they agreed or not because he knew that with Long Fu's help, although it was a little dangerous, they could almost succeed. In this case, it was better to help them become the territory ancestor of the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm first. Qi Tian and Hong Lin thought for a while and decided to compromise. The two of them found Longao and went straight to the point. Longao, if we fight on our own, 9 months later, I'm afraid we'll be in trouble. Alliance? Longao didn't need to ask as he knew what they meant. But was it possible? If no one trusted the other, it was impossible to form an alliance. Longao wouldn't trust them, and they wouldn't trust Longao either. Bloodline contract. As long as you agree to submit to me, I will protect you. What do you think? Impossible. What a joke. They had never thought that with their status and competence, how could they submit to someone? Moreover, it was a bloodline contract. Even if they didn't form an alliance, they wouldn't agree. Goodbye. He turned around and left. He didn't give them a chance to talk. Looking at the departing figure, both Territory Ancestor Hong Lin and Territory Ancestor Qi Tian's faces darkened to the extreme. Their faces were grimaced. Master, Lin Yi and Li may have devoured the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads, but… Yibu didn't ask, but the meaning in his words was clear. Since the 5th and 6th Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads hadn't appeared, how did they devour the Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads? Yibu wasn't the only one who couldn't figure it out. Even Yi-Bai couldn't figure it out. It was too strange. In fact, the two of them had thought of something, but they didn't dare to imagine that their master would be so lucky to obtain 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads at the same time. Longao smiled and couldn't contain his excitement. You're right. When I was suppressing the 9-headed Starry Sky Serpent, I found 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads in its body. Even Longao hadn't thought that he would be so lucky. He had only wanted to suppress the 9-headed Starry Sky Serpent and become the guardian of the 7 orifices exquisite pagoda. To his surprise, he found 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads in the 9-headed Starry Sky Serpent's body. Yibu and Yi-Bai looked at each other. When one's luck came, they couldn't stop it even if they wanted to. The master's luck was too good. He had obtained 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads at the same time. Out of the 10 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads, 6 of them had appeared, and the master had obtained all of them. It was unbelievable. Moreover, the 2 of them had guessed that the divine mathematician had purposely arranged the 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads in the 9-headed Starry Sky Serpent's body. Master, if other people know about this, I'm afraid there will be big trouble. The 2 of them were worried. After all, the master had obtained 6 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors' godheads, and there were only 4 left. If other people knew about this, they would go crazy. Chapter 1986. Would Longao care? He didn't care before, let alone now. Longao didn't say anything. In these 3 days, he did his best to help the 2 women refine the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor godheads and become a territory ancestor. The result was as expected. 3 days later, whether it was Lin Yi or Li Mei, with Long Fu's help, they successfully refined the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor godheads and became Starry Sky Territory Ancestors. When the 2 of them appeared, they immediately caused a commotion. 2 more Starry Sky Territory Ancestors had appeared. Even a fool would have understood what had happened. The Starry Sky 9-headed python. Longao could create 2 Territory Ancestors because he had obtained 2 Starry Sky Territory Ancestor godhead. Regret. Qi Tian and Hong Lin were extremely regretful. If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have taken action. Even if it was risky, as long as they could kill the Starry Sky nine-headed python, they could have gotten the Starry Sky territory ancestor godheads. But now, Longao had gotten it first. This time, no one was envious, not even Chi Tian and Hong Lin. Not only was he not envious, he even began to admire Longao. Was it really luck? It might not be luck. If Longao hadn't killed the Starry Sky nine-headed python, he wouldn't have gotten the two Starry Sky territory ancestor godhead. Even if they knew about it, would they dare to fight the Starry Sky nine-headed python? Among the 4 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky, Longao had reached the peak. Not to mention others, even Chi Tian and Hong Lin weren't qualified to provoke Longao. All of you, follow me. Light flashed, and Longao's group of 5 disappeared. Time trickled by. 9 months passed in the blink of an eye. Besides Longao, who had survived with the help of the dragon seal space, the others, including Chi Tian and Hong Lin, had fallen. No one could enter the star's secret territory alive. The territory ancestor peak disappeared. Longao's group of 6 appeared. Long Jing had officially broken through to the Starry Sky territory ancestor realm. At this speed, she would break through to the Starry Sky territory ancestor realm in less than 10 years. In 9 months, Longao had successfully obtained the remaining 4 Starry Sky territory ancestor godhead. He heaved a heavy sigh. Hundreds of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators, except for Lin Yi and a few others, all of them died. Not only that, apart from the Heaven and Earth sect, everyone else had perished. In other words, the only ones left on the martial Heaven continent were the cultivators from the outer island. It was unknown whether they were still alive or not. However, according to Longao's guess, these people were probably doomed. Let's go. After finding Shirpatian and the others, Longao brought everyone back to the massacre abyss. The seal of the massacre abyss had already been opened. Longao's smooth return made everyone extremely happy. When everyone knew what had happened, they sighed endlessly. The 5 Starry Sky territory ancestors were Shirpatian, Lin Yi, Li Mei, Yi Bu, and Yi Bai. As for Long Jing, although she had yet to break through to the Starry Sky territory ancestor realm, she had already devoured the Starry Sky territory ancestor godhead. In the future, she would definitely break through to the Starry Sky territory ancestor realm. As for the remaining 4 Starry Sky territory ancestor godheads, Longao had already decided. His grandfather would have 1 Starry Sky territory ancestor godhead, his parents would have 1 each, and Aoshua would have 1 Starry Sky territory ancestor godhead. As for the others, he had yet to decide. The dragon sect was harmonious, but other than a few people, no one knew about the Starry Sky territory ancestor godhead. It was the dragon sect's top secret. With the Heaven and Earth sect's disappearance, the dragon sect was the only one left. However, Longao had decided to hide the dragon sect, causing the martial Heaven continent to be in chaos. Without the 10 directions, the other sects began to rise, re-establishing the 10 directions. Brother Long, are you really going to leave the martial Heaven continent? Aoshua, Long Jing, Yu Yin, and Murong Yener were surprised. Although Longao hadn't accepted Murong Yener, the 3 of them had already accepted her. As for his relationship with Murong Yener, it would depend on fate in the future. The matters in the martial Heaven continent are basically settled. The Massacre Abyss has 10 Starry Sky territory ancestors. I believe nothing will happen. I have many things to do, so I have to go to the vast Starry Sky. Longao knew what the 4 of them meant. Before the 4 of them could speak, Longao continued, I can't bring you there. The vast Starry Sky is filled with dangers. If I bring you along, I won't be able to take care of you. Wait for me here. When I'm done, I'll come back immediately. Okay? Looking at Longao, the 4 of them sighed helplessly. Brother Long, you have to be careful. If something happens to you, the 4 of us won't be able to live. Longao's expression changed slightly, but he didn't say anything. Since things had already come to this, he had to be ruthless. He couldn't bring the four of them into the vast starry sky. There were two important things for him to do in the starry sky this time. The first thing was definitely to find Bai Ling and Xiling. The two of them had left the martial heaven plane for him. As for what had happened to them, he still didn't know. So no matter how difficult it was, even if he had to travel through the entire starry sky, he had to find them. The second thing was to find out about his origins. No matter what the mysterious young man said, he didn't want to believe it because he didn't look for it himself. The Luan clan was the only clue. Therefore, he had to find the Luan clan this time. As for the martial heaven continent, other than the godly mathematician, no one dared to provoke the massacre abyss. Even the heavenly Tao didn't dare to casually provoke the massacre abyss. There were 10 territory ancestors in the starry sky. Not to mention the martial heaven plane, even in the entire starry sky, they were incomparably powerful existences. Longao was almost certain that the godly mathematician wouldn't take action against the massacre abyss. Otherwise, with the godly mathematician's strength, whether it was him or the massacre abyss, they wouldn't have been able to grow. 10 territory ancestors in the starry sky. If this news spread through the vast starry sky, it would shake the entire starry sky. Even a high-grade plane didn't have 10 territory ancestors. It was also because of the 10 territory ancestors that Longao felt relieved to leave the martial heaven plane and go to the vast starry sky. Otherwise, even if he had 10,000 chances, he wouldn't go to the vast starry sky. Before leaving the martial heaven plane, Longao planned to take a trip to the Crystal Palace. No matter what, this place was the godly mathematician's territory. As long as the godly mathematician agreed, the massacre abyss would be completely safe. Not to mention others, even if the starry sky world lord came, he wouldn't be able to destroy the massacre abyss. Chapter 1987. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators had died, shocking the Tianwu continent. However, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing for the Tianwu continent. In the current Tianwu continent, besides the secluded sects that had cultivators, the rest of the sects didn't have any. The two secluded sects were the Heaven and Earth sect and the Dragon sect. Outer Sea. Inside the Crystal Palace. Longao, you're finally here? Senior, thank you for showing mercy. Longao knew clearly that even if he had all kinds of trump cards, if the godly mathematician hadn't shown mercy, he wouldn't have been able to resist. Why did the godly mathematician help him? Until now, Longao couldn't figure it out. Was it really because of his talent? There were countless geniuses in the vast universe. Longao was almost sure that there were many people who were more talented than him in the vast universe. You're not going to enter the star's secret domain? Longao had decided not to enter the star's secret domain. He couldn't wait any longer. If it weren't for Bai Ling, he could delay his trip to the star's secret domain. As for finding his origin, he could do it at any time. Senior, I have something to do in the vast universe. I won't enter the star's secret domain for the time being. He nodded. All right. When you come back, I'll arrange for you to enter the star's secret domain. Remember, the vast universe is different from the Tianwu continent. Be careful. I look forward to your return. Senior, after I leave, I hope you can help me take care of the Dragon sect. That was the main point. The Massacre Abyss already has 10 territory ancestors. Unless the Starry Sky Boundary Lord comes, there's no need to worry about the Massacre Abyss. As for the Starry Sky Boundary Lord, don't worry. We have an agreement. They won't come. With the godly mathematician's promise, Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. In that case, I'll take my leave. Longao turned and left, disappearing instantly. Inside the Crystal Palace, looking at the disappearing figure, the godly mathematician smiled and closed his eyes again. Just as Longao was about to leave the Tianwu continent, Yigudu suddenly appeared. The two of them arrived at the top of the clouds. Longao, are you going to the vast starry sky? Longao didn't hide anything from him. Longao nodded. That's right. Now that the martial heaven continents matters have been resolved, I want to go to the starry sky and broaden my horizons. As for the matter of Bai Ling and Luan returning to the clan, Longao did not mention a word. It's good to broaden your horizons, but you have to be careful. There are some experts and planes that you absolutely cannot go to. Would Longao be afraid? Thank you. Yigudu sighed deeply and said, You're the first person to leave the sky martial plane in tens of thousands of years. No matter who it is, as long as they enter the sky martial plane, they will not be able to leave alive. Longao had seen it for himself. Although he didn't know what happened 10,000 years ago, Longao saw it with his own eyes. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the starry sky, other than the few who had submitted to him, had all died. It was all the work of the God Diviner. As for why, Longao still didn't know. Other than the God Diviner and Yigudu, no one else knew the reason. However, the God Diviner was truly domineering. He had clearly borrowed the power of the starry sky, but he had still pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. Like this, his chess pieces had been played around with until they had all died. Big Brother Yi, did you need me for something? Longao knew that Yigudu wouldn't have come looking for him if he didn't need him for something. Longao, I'll wait for you to come back. I'll be leaving first. Without waiting for Longao to react, Yigudu turned around and left quickly. In a short while, he had already disappeared without a trace. Longao was a bit dumbfounded. What was Yigudu trying to do? Longao was almost certain that Yigudu had come looking for him for something. Someone had definitely sent him a message through spiritual sense. Otherwise, Yigudu wouldn't have left. Could it be the God Diviner? Longao didn't bother with that question. In any case, his top priority was to go to the starry sky and find Bai Ling and Xiling. He also had to find Luan and return to his clan to figure out his origins. Longao didn't immediately leave. He was preparing to leave early in the morning. At this time, he was preparing to take a good look at the martial heaven continent. Longao was very clear that he wouldn't be able to return for the time being. Originally, he had wanted to stay in the slaughter abyss for a few more days, but he was afraid that people wouldn't be willing to part with him. Longao entered the 9 provinces continent and went to Scarlet Flame Town. Scarlet Flame Town was once more bustling with activity. Although the martial heaven continent no longer had the 10 directional tripods and the dragon sect had gone into seclusion, everyone knew that the true number 1 sect of the martial heaven continent wasn't the heaven and earth sect, but the dragon sect. Longao didn't reveal his identity. Instead, he entered Scarlet Flame Town as an ordinary person. Walking on the main street, listening to the sounds of business on both sides, Longao smiled. Once he found Bai Ling and Xiling, as well as his own identity, he would bring his family back to Scarlet Flame Town. Living a secluded and stable life wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was also a happy thing. Just like that, Longao aimlessly walked on the main street. He was immersed in the scene, as if he was really an ordinary person. Dusk slowly disappeared, and night quietly descended. Longao found a beef noodle restaurant, found a bowl of noodles, and ate alone. The next day, early morning, Longao left Scarlet Flame Town and went directly to the void of the 9 heavens, the outermost layer of the plane. Although hundreds of thousands of starry sky cultivators had died, the seal of the plane had not been broken. The reason was very simple. Once the seal was broken, the starry sky cultivators outside would continuously pour into the martial heaven plane. At that time, it would be very troublesome. However, with the divine mathematician, the starry sky world master, there was no one who could break the seal. Taking a step back, even if someone could break the seal, they wouldn't be a match for the divine mathematician. The Starry Sky World Master was a legendary existence in the starry sky. When Longao arrived at the outermost layer, he didn't need to do anything. He was very clear that the seal would automatically open. In truth, Longao was very clear that he couldn't break the seal. As expected, as soon as Longao arrived at the outermost layer, a hole opened in the seal. It just so happened that a person had left. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Longao's figure instantly disappeared. In the next second, the seal was resealed. Following Longao's departure, the slaughter abyss went into seclusion. At this time, the Martial Heaven continent became even more chaotic. Because all the sects wanted to rise, they wanted to re-establish the balance of power. In the chaos, rivers of blood flowed and corpses were strewn everywhere. The divine mathematician didn't appear to interfere. He allowed the chaos to begin. Author's note: Little 9 is going to sleep first. I'm really tired. I'm finally going to start writing about the entire starry sky. The next chapter is about to officially enter the starry sky. Little 9 is a bit excited. Everything will appear. By Ling and Xilinx's identities, the divine mathematician's identity, the 12 rulers of the starry sky, the Luan clan, Longao's true body, and so on. Chapter 1988. In the vast starry sky there were many planes. No one knew how big the starry sky was, and no one knew how many planes there were. At a glance, there was no end to it. The densely packed planes were everywhere. The starry sky was divided into countless small planes, and each small plane was overseen by a powerful and mysterious realm lord. The Sky Martial Plane was one of the small planes. As for whether the realm lord was the godly mathematician, no one knew. The starry sky realm lord had always been mysterious, and his whereabouts were unknown. Other than the countless small planes, there were also countless starry sky empires in the starry sky. It was said that each starry sky empire was formed by countless small planes. One could imagine how powerful the starry sky empires were. The Sky Martial Plane that Longao was in belonged to one of the starry sky empires. This starry sky empire was called the Heaven-Devouring Empire. The Heaven-Devouring Empire controlled tens of thousands of small planes. When Longao left the Sky Martial continent, the Sky Martial Plane behind him started to move and slowly disappeared. Before leaving, the godly mathematician gave Longao a token. In the future, he could use the token to find the coordinates of the Sky Martial Plane. Looking at the starry sky in front of him, Longao fell into a daze. The departure of his Yuan spirit and the appearance of his true body were two completely different concepts. The starry sky energy here was too abundant. It was no wonder that everyone was willing to step into the starry sky. It was because cultivating here was much faster than cultivating in the Sky Martial Plane. The starry sky was divided into low-grade planes, mid-grade planes, and high-grade planes. The Sky Martial Plane was a mid-grade plane. Longao wanted to go to the high-grade planes to see what was different about them. Looking for Bai Ling and Xiling was pointless. He didn't know where Xiling and Bai Ling had gone. As for the whereabouts of the Luan clan, that was also very difficult. The reincarnation sword was his only clue. Since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. Longao took a step forward and headed forward. The vast starry sky was just too big. Even if Longao was a grade 8 starry sky cultivator, wanting to go from one positional plane to another was definitely not an easy task. Brother, may I know how to get to the Heaven-Devouring Empire? In the vast starry skies, Longao met a grade 6 starry sky cultivator and directly went over to ask for directions. To save unnecessary trouble, Longao directly released his aura, the aura of a grade 8 starry sky cultivator. In the vast starry sky, the strong were respected. It was even crueler than in the Tianwu plane. The strong were high and mighty. The weak were at the mercy of others. As expected, sensing the powerful aura from Longao, the man's heart trembled. He smiled and said, "Brother, you're too polite. The heaven-devouring empire is very far from here. Without a token, you won't be able to enter." However, the man still told Longao the exact location of the heaven-devouring empire and told him a few things about it. "Thank you. You're welcome. Goodbye." Goodbye. According to this person, the heaven-devouring empire formed by tens of thousands of small realms was an extremely powerful existence even in the entire universe. The heaven-devouring empire was located in a high-grade realm. The name of this high-grade realm was the same as the heaven-devouring empire, the heaven-devouring high-grade realm. The heaven-devouring high-grade realm was different from other high-grade realms. It was the strongest realm among the tens of thousands of small realms. There were as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. Not to mention a grade 8 starry sky cultivator, even a starry sky domain lord wouldn't dare to act recklessly here. He shrugged helplessly. Even if he stepped into such a powerful heaven-devouring plane, he would only be torturing himself. Longao had already made up his mind. He would think of a way to enter the heaven-devouring plane when he broke through to the starry sky domain lord realm. As for now, he would first find a high-grade realm to test it out. After all, other than the Tianwu plane, Longao hadn't entered any other realm. He was very curious and wanted to see what the other realms were like. What's going on? There were many realms around. Just as Longao was thinking about which one to enter, he suddenly noticed something strange in the distance. Many cultivators were rushing over as if they were rushing to a market. Did something happen? Longao also wanted to join in the fun and flew towards his target. At the entrance of a high-grade realm, many cultivators were rushing in crazily. Longao, who had just arrived, was very curious. He didn't know what was going on. The other realms were more open than the Tianwu plane. People could enter and leave as they wished. It was as if it was their own home. The Qiankuan plane was a high-grade realm. The Qiankuan plane was different from the Tianwu plane. The Tianwu plane had been dominated by 10 forces for countless years. However, the Qiankuan plane was different. There was only one supreme existence in the Qiankuan plane, the Qiankuan sect. In the Qiankuan plane, the Qiankuan sect was invincible. Although there were many small sects and families under the Qiankuan plane, they were still a little lacking compared to the colossal Qiankuan sect. The Qiankuan sect was the absolute overlord of the Qiankuan plane. Not to mention people from this plane, even cultivators from other realms wouldn't dare to act wildly in the Qiankuan plane. The reason was simple. Legend had it that the Qiankuan sect of the Qiankuan plane had a starry sky territory ancestor. With such a supreme existence, who would be stupid enough to cause trouble? Brother, what's going on in the Qiankuan plane? Why are you in such a hurry to enter? More and more people gathered, and most of them were men. The more it was so, the more curious Longao was. He didn't know what had happened in the Qiankuan plane. Why were there so many people from the starry sky territory? The man who was asked was in his 30s. In fact, he had lived for thousands of years. However, in the vast starry sky, as long as one's cultivation broke through to the starry sky territory, they could live for hundreds or thousands of years. It was very normal. No one would pay attention to your age. You don't know? He was very surprised. This person was also a level 8 starry sky territory cultivator. Although he was surprised when he sensed Longao's aura, he didn't pay much attention to it. I just came out of my plane, so I don't know. May I know your name? Spray of Plum. I'm Longao. Spray of Plum? This name was really special. Longao was a little amused. However, in the vast starry sky, there were countless starry sky territory cultivators. There must be all kinds of people. Brother Long, you don't know. In the Qiankuan Plains Qiankuan sect, it's said that the eldest daughter of the master is going to have a public martial arts competition to find a husband. Think about it, if you can win the heart of the beauty and become the son-in-law of the Qiankuan sect. Sigh, just thinking about it makes me excited. Martial arts competition to find a husband? Damn, Longao never thought that the Qiankuan Plains matter would be a martial arts competition to find a husband. Chapter 1989. Longao felt helpless. However, he had just entered the galaxy and had no idea where to look for Bai Ling and Xiling. He also had no idea how to reincarnate back to the clan. He might as well enter the Qiankuan Plain first. Brother Long, why don't we enter together? That's what I was thinking. Longao felt that Yi Mei was a good person. The two of them entered the Qiankuan Plain together. Stepping into the Qiankuan Plain, Longao was very surprised, because his cultivation had already broken through to grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator. The aura he released could completely cover the entire universe plane. The Qiankuan Plain was huge. It was dozens of times bigger than the Tianwu Plain. What did that mean? Brother Long, you don't dare to release your aura casually. If the Qiankuan sect finds out, we will be in big trouble. Longao nodded with a smile. He was just a passerby in the Qiankuan Plain. There was no need to offend the Qiankuan sect. Longao didn't have a Starry Sky Territory ancestor with him. If he met an expert above the Starry Sky Territory Emperor, he would be in big trouble. The cultivators continued to enter the Qiankuan Plain. They were all heading in one direction. Let's go too. Everyone's speed was very fast, each of them like lightning. Just as Longao and Yi Mei were running, a mountain peak appeared in the distance. It was a huge mountain peak. At first glance, it was so huge that it pierced through the clouds. It was a magnificent sight. At the peak of the mountain, there was a huge palace. It was even more majestic than the mountain peak. Brother Long, this is the Qiankuan Palace. It's the headquarters of the Qiankuan sect. Longao didn't need Yi Mei to tell him. The Qiankuan Plain was indeed a high-level plain. It wasn't something the Tianwu Plain could compare to. They weren't even on the same level. When they were tens of thousands of meters away from the Qiankuan sect, all the cultivators stopped flying. They were going to walk to the Qiankuan sect. What was the meaning of this? Yi Mei, what is the meaning of this? Longao and Ji of Plum Blossom also stopped flying and walked on foot like everyone else. He smiled helplessly. Brother Long, there's something you don't know. The Heaven and Earth sect has a clear rule. No matter who comes here, even if it's a territory ancestor, they have to walk within 10,000 meters. Otherwise, they will be regarded as the Heaven and Earth sect's enemy. So that was the case. This was the strength of the Qiankuan sect. If it were any other sect, would they dare to do something like this? It was just like the 10 great tripods of the Tianwu Plain. No matter which super sect it was, they wouldn't dare to do that because no one would follow that rule. At the end of the day, Qiankuan sect was simply too strong. They were the one and only overlord of the Qiankuan world. The Starry Sky Territory ancestors had to follow this rule. If that was the case, Longao was sure that the Heaven and Earth sect had a territory ancestor. Moreover, it wasn't just one territory ancestor. At the very least, there were 2 territory ancestors. No wonder Qiankuan sect was so overbearing. This was the benefit of strength. There were about tens of thousands of Starry Sky cultivators who had entered the Qiankuan Plain this time, and this did not include their own Starry Sky cultivators. At a glance, they were densely packed, like countless ants. It seemed like the young miss of the Qiankuan sect was very charming. As though she could see Longao's curiosity, Ji smiled and said, Brother Long, the young miss of the Qiankuan sect is called Feng Xia. She's a super genius. In just 5 years, she became a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator. Rumor has it that she's about to become a Starry Sky territory lord. 5 years, to a cultivator, was indeed a monstrous existence. Even so, she shouldn't be so charming. It's not just her talent. Feng Xia's appearance is one of the best in the entire heaven-devouring empire. It was no wonder that so many people had come to see her. Unknowingly, the two of them had arrived at the foot of the mountain. The third prince of the heaven-devouring empire, Shun Feng, is here to visit your sect. Heaven-devouring empire? Third prince? Everyone was taken aback when they saw the two figures darting towards them from afar. They knew what the heaven-devouring empire represented. Moreover, it was the third prince. It was no wonder the two of them dared to fly in the sky and only stopped when they arrived at the Qiankuan Peak. If it was anyone else, they would have been killed long ago. The heaven-devouring empire was the absolute overlord of tens of thousands of small worlds. As for the Qiankuan Plain, not to mention the tens of thousands of small realms, even in this small realm, it was not the top existence. One could imagine how big the gap between the two was. The master of the Qiankuan sect, Feng Qing, welcomes the third prince. Please. A middle-aged man led a few elders of the Qiankuan sect to welcome the third prince. Everyone shook their heads helplessly. This was the benefit of strength. Among the tens of thousands of people who had entered the Qiankuan Plain, there were even Starry Sky Territory Lord. So what? With the third prince's status, the Qiankuan sect didn't dare to let their guard down. With the strength of the heaven-devouring empire, destroying the Qiankuan sect would be a piece of cake. Everyone laughed as they walked toward the Qiankuan sect. As for the remaining people, they were sent to various places. Only the Starry Sky Territory Lords or above were sent to the Qiankuan Peak. No one was dissatisfied with the different treatment. After all, in front of a colossus like the Qiankuan sect, no one below the Starry Sky Domain Lord level would be placed in their eyes. Yi Mei and Longao were arranged to stay in a courtyard. At a glance, there were small courtyards everywhere. They weren't too big, but they were densely packed together, numbering in the tens of thousands. There was more than enough space for each of them. However, Longao and Ji seemed to get along very well. The two of them chose to enter their own courtyard. "Brother Long, where are you from?" Longao didn't tell the truth. The martial heaven continent was a sensitive place. He smiled and said, "I'm from a middle-grade plane. What about you?" "I'm a native of the vast starry sky." A native meant that he was born in the vast starry sky. He didn't belong to any plane. "Brother Long, the reason the Qiankuan sect is holding this competition for Feng Xia is because of the heaven-devouring empire." "What do you mean?" Longao was curious. He could understand why they were doing this for the heaven-devouring empire, but why would the Qiankuan sect go through so much trouble? With Feng Xia's talent and appearance, wouldn't it be more direct for her to go to the heaven-devouring empire? Why did they have to be so wishy-washy? Ji laughed. "Brother Long, it seems you're still young. You don't understand the reason behind this. The Qiankuan sect's move is vicious. Sending themselves to the heaven-devouring empire is a completely different matter. Once the Qiankuan sect climbs up to the heaven-devouring empire, their power and status will soar. At that time, let alone this world, they'll be one of the top existences in tens of thousands of worlds." Author's note: here's the 6th chapter. If you have a vote, please vote for Little 9. Chapter 1990. So that was the case. Longao already understood what Yi Mei meant. Retreating to advance. "Ji Mei, since that's the case, then what are we here for? Brother Long, are you thinking of getting Feng Xia?" Hearing Longao's words, Spray of Plum Blossom seemed to be very surprised. He continued, "Of the people who came in this time, 95% of them are here to watch a show. They don't have any other thoughts." In front of the powerful heaven-devouring empire, no one had such thoughts. Not to mention others, even the universe region emperors didn't dare to touch heaven and earth sect. Heaven-devouring empire, the absolute overlord of tens of thousands of worlds. "I am here to watch the show too. Heaven and Earth sect, main hall." The third Prince Chen Feng smiled and said, Sect Master Feng, the reason I came here this time is mainly for Xia. What do you think? Although he was asking, his tone didn't have any intention of asking at all. Shen Feng was only a universe region lord, but he had a really strong backer. Even Heaven and Earth sect didn't dare to go against him. He wasn't angry at all. The reason why Feng Qing was doing this was because of heaven-devouring empire. It didn't matter which prince it was. What was important was to climb up this tree. If that happened, Heaven and Earth sect would be like a carp jumping over the dragon gate. Thinking about this, Feng Qing smiled and said, Third Prince, Xia's meaning is very simple. She wants you to publicly defeat everyone and openly marry her. In this way, Xia's face will also be bright. Proud of Xia? Or Heaven and Earth sect? But Shen Feng didn't point it out. The moment he thought about Feng Xia's eyebrows, he couldn't wait to get her. As for her talent, Shen Feng didn't care about it at all. In the tens of thousands of worlds there were many talented women, but those who could compare to Feng Xia in terms of looks were rare. No problem. When will the competition begin? Tomorrow. A night of silence. The next day, morning. The moment the sun rose, the bell of Heaven and Earth sect rang. Everyone knew that the competition was about to begin. Under the lead of the Heaven and Earth sect disciples, everyone headed towards Heaven and Earth Peak. At the peak of the peak, in front of the huge Heaven and Earth Hall, was a huge square. Not to mention tens of thousands of people, even hundreds of thousands of people wouldn't be a problem. It was a huge arena. Feng Qing looked at the tens of thousands of people below and coughed twice. He then smiled. Thank you all for giving face to Qianquan sect. This time around, my daughter is holding a public duel for marriage, and it is a fair one. Everyone who is not married can participate. With the deterrence of the third prince, who would dare? Unless there was water in the brain or someone who was not afraid of death, no one was willing to provoke the third prince. If it was only the third prince, no one would take him seriously. No matter what, the third prince was only a domain lord. There were plenty of people here who could kill the third prince. What they were truly afraid of was the heaven-devouring empire behind the third prince. Seeing this situation, Longao was a little speechless. Could it be that the two of them would continue to fight, and the winner would continue to accept challenges? It was too cliché. Because of the deterrence of the third prince, Chen Feng, who still dared to step onto the stage. Probably no one would be willing to do so. If Qianquan sect was only like this, then it would be too much of a pain in the ass. However, everyone was wrong. Including the third prince, no one would have thought that this was not Feng Qing's intention. Everyone, for the sake of fairness, the old master is prepared to open up the Qianquan secret grounds. Anyone who wishes to participate can enter. This way, the winner will be the winner. The third prince's face instantly turned gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Feng Qing's intention was simple. He wanted to raise the level of this duel for marriage. Even if he was the winner, he wanted to let the world know that Qianquan sect was qualified. What a good Feng Qing! What a good Qianquan sect! Chen Feng's face regained its smile. In his opinion, if he did not win this duel, Qianquan sect would be in for a bad time. He knew this, and so did Feng Qing. Qianquan's secret grounds open. A black stone door appeared in midair. This was the entrance to the Qianquan secret grounds. It was as though they were worried that no one would enter. If that was the case, Qianquan sect would be utterly embarrassed. The Qianquan secret grounds contains the space territory ancestor godhead. With a simple sentence, countless people began to rush into the Qianquan secret realm, including the third prince and the old man behind the third prince, an old man who looked so weak that he could be blown away by the wind. In just a short while, 80% of the people had entered the Qianquan secret grounds. Brother Long, how is it? How can we miss out on the space territory ancestor godhead? Alright, let's go. The two of them entered the Qianquan secret grounds as well. As for Longao, He had no intention of participating in the duel for marriage. After all, he already had 4 beauties. There was also Yennefer, who he was slowly accepting. He did not want to have anyone else in his heart. Those who did not enter the Qianquan secret realm chose to leave. The huge square, which had been packed with people just a moment ago, became empty in just a few minutes. Looking at the black stone door in front of him, Feng Cheng's face broke into a smile. In the next second, he bowed respectfully. Old Ancestor. Old Ancestor Qianquan was an extremely old man. He was also the Space Territory Ancestor in charge of the Qianquan sect. He nodded his head and said, "Remember, there is a limit to what you can do. Even though we want to use the third prince to create momentum, we can't go overboard. Otherwise, it might backfire." Old Ancestor Qianquan continued, "When it's about time, send people into the Qianquan secret grounds to help the third prince. Remember, no matter what happens, Shen Feng must win this time." "Old Ancestor, will we offend the heaven-devouring empire this time? We have to be quick. No one knows what will happen next. Only by climbing up the heaven-devouring empire can we be free of worries. Furthermore, our Feng family has not improved for hundreds of millions of years. We can use this opportunity to rise to the next level and become one of the super sects in the tens of thousands of worlds. Gamble. If they won, the Qianquan sect would rise to the next level. If they lost, they would be in deep trouble." However, the Qianquan sect had been silent for a long time. It was time for them to rise. "Old Ancestor, Father, I want to enter the Qianquan secret grounds too." At this time, the peerless beauty Feng Xia suddenly appeared. Even Yu Yin and Ao Shui couldn't compare to her beauty. Only Bai Ling could contend against her. No wonder the third prince was willing to personally come here. This kind of peerless beauty was something that all men would want to obtain. Author's note. Chapter 7 delivered. Chapter 1991. Xia, you still haven't broken through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord level. If you rashly go in, I'm afraid you'll be in danger. Without experience, even if you break through, what can you do? Feng Qing seemed to want to say something, but was stopped by Ancestor Heaven and Earth. Go. Thank you, Ancestor. Afraid that Feng Qing would stop her, Feng Xia lifted her shoulder and disappeared through the entrance. Forefather. He waved his hand. Universe Ancestor smiled and said, "Universe Secret Domain has the space god beast I tamed back then. Xia will be fine. 3 days later, send 10 Starry Sky region emperors into the Universe Secret Domain." Yes. Since the old Ancestor had said so, what else could he say? Inside the Yin-Yang secret realm. This time, everyone who entered the Universe Secret Domain would be considered the winner as long as they could obtain the Universal Ancestor Godhead. Not only could he get the Universal Star Territory Ancestor's Godhead, but he could also win the beauty's heart. Brother Long, be careful. What happened? Longao was very curious. Could it be that there was danger in the Qianquan secret realm? Brother Long, there's something you don't know. Even if you don't attack others, others will take the initiative to attack you and refine your primordial spirit into a starry sky godhead in exchange for what they need. So that was the case. There was also a market in the vast starry sky, but the most common item in the vast starry sky was none other than the starry sky godhood. Before long Ao and Iji Plum Blossom could continue talking, a grade 9 starry sky cultivator rushed towards the two of them at a very fast speed. Brother Long, let's go. Spray of Plum Blossom was well aware of the other party's strength. Even if the two of them worked together, they would not be a match for the other party. But Long Ao stood still. Iji Mei, are you a grade 8 starry sky cultivator now? He nodded. Spray of Plum Blossom was completely dumbfounded. What did Long Ao mean by asking him? At this time, Long Ao did not run with him, but instead asked if he was a grade 8 starry sky cultivator. Whether or not he was a grade 8 starry sky cultivator, don't you know? Spray of Plum Blossom was kind enough to not leave on his own. It was precisely because of this that Spray of Plum Blossom did not know that this action of his had brought him a great opportunity. Ijime, I'll help you refine a rank 9 starry sky godhead. Although his strength had not reached the level of a starry sky domain lord, Longao did not fear a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. The grade 9 starry sky cultivator arrived in the blink of an eye. Seeing that the two of them didn't run away, the man seemed a little surprised. Whoosh whoosh. The two class 9 starry sky soul slaves immediately rushed out, not giving the man any chance to react. They immediately started attacking him. Spray of Plum Blossom was completely dumbfounded. He never expected that Longao would suddenly summon two grade 9 starry sky cultivators. No wonder Longao was so fearless. The result was obvious. 1 against 2. With the man killed in an instant, Longao didn't hesitate and immediately started refining the starry sky god deity. A plum blossom for you. After receiving the grade 9 starry sky godhead, Ijime was pleasantly surprised. Without any hesitation, he immediately devoured the starry sky godhead. In just a few months, his cultivation would break through to grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Longao, the two starry sky cultivators you just summoned seemed a little different. Ijime could sense that the two grade 9 starry sky cultivators summoned by Longao didn't leak any aura at all. It was as if they were dead people. What the hell is going on? Longao didn't hide much and said, a few years ago, I obtained a secret technique that can refine a person's essence spirit into a soul slave. Not only can it improve one's strength, but it can also improve one's defensive power by a lot. He was shocked. This secret technique was simply invincible. However, Ijime didn't feel jealous or envious. Everyone had their own opportunities. Longao could obtain this kind of opportunity because of his own luck. The two of them didn't continue on their journey. Instead, Ijime started devouring the grade 9 starry sky godhead. With Longao's help, the refining speed increased rapidly. However, it wasn't easy to break through to grade 9 starry sky cultivator in a short time. Ijime knew that he wouldn't be able to break through to grade 9 starry sky cultivator even if he continued to refine the godhead. He had to wait for the right time. Third Prince Shinfeng. Just as the two of them were about to continue on their journey to find the starry sky territory ancestor godhead, they suddenly saw Shinfeng killing the cultivators in the distance. Shinfeng's arrogant face disappeared after he retrieved the starry sky primordial spirit. With the heaven-devouring empire as his backing, Shinfeng is too arrogant. He can kill whoever he wants. Ijime was dissatisfied with Shinfeng's actions. However, no matter what, Shinfeng wouldn't have dared to do this without the heaven-devouring empire's backing. With our current strength, it's not time for us to fight Shinfeng head-on. However, we will in the future. Longao hated people like Shinfeng. However, he didn't want to provoke the third prince for no reason. His goal was to find Bai Ling and Xiling. He also wanted to find Luan Ren and his clan so that he could figure out his identity. If he offended the third prince, it would be equivalent to offending the heaven-devouring empire. He would be in big trouble if that happened. If that happened, it would delay his search for Bai Ling and Xiling. If the two of them were at their peak, Longao wouldn't be worried at all. However, the situation was different now. Whether it was Xiling or Bai Ling, their primordial spirits were severely injured. If they encountered an expert, they would be in big trouble. The vast starry sky was completely different from the Tianwu plain. In the vast starry sky cultivators could be found everywhere. Any one of them was a super expert. The more it was so, the more worried Longao was. He couldn't wait to find the two of them. I'm just complaining. The heaven-devouring empire is something we can't touch. Even the Qianquan sect wouldn't dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire, let alone you and me. With a single order, tens of thousands of lesser realms would come to our aid. Yi Mei smiled helplessly. Longao and Yi Mei did not continue to dwell on this matter. They continued to search for the Starry Sky Territory ancestors' godheads' whereabouts. It wasn't that they wanted to obtain Feng Xia, but the Starry Sky Territory ancestors' godheads' allure was too great. Yi Mei naturally wanted to devour the Starry Sky Territory ancestor godhead. That way, he would be able to become a Starry Sky Territory ancestor in the future. As for Longao, even if he didn't devour the Starry Sky Territory ancestor godhead himself, he could keep it. When he returned to the Tianwu Plain, he could let his family devour the Starry Sky Territory ancestor godhead. In fact, no one knew that the Qianquan sect had taken out the Starry Sky Territory ancestor godhead because of the third prince. It was also a greeting gift to Xinfeng. Otherwise, the Qianquan sect wouldn't be so generous. After all, this was a Starry Sky Territory ancestor godhead, not a cabbage. Author's note. Delivery to Chapter 8. Chapter 1992. The Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead had already been decided, and it would be Xinfeng's. Everyone understood this principle. Even if they knew, they were still unwilling. What if they were lucky enough to get the Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead? Taking a step back, even if they couldn't get the Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead, they wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Would the Qianquan sect dare to make a move? Even if the Qianquan sect was strong, they wouldn't dare to kill the people here. The consequences would be unimaginable if they angered the crowd. Xia, I'm really happy to see you. Xinfeng, who was looking for the Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead, saw Feng Xia and his eyes turned blue. He couldn't wait to get Feng Xia. Feng Xia's beauty was earth-shattering. She said with disgust, Xinfeng, if you want to marry me, you'll have to get the Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead. Otherwise, don't even think about it. He was proud and arrogant. Feng Xia was a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator and was not an opponent of the other party. However, she had full confidence that in her territory, even if the other party's identity was not ordinary, he would not dare to touch her. She turned and walked away, ignoring him. She was furious. As the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire, he had always been high and mighty. He could have any woman he wanted. Since when did anyone dare to treat him like this? Third prince, I'll help you guard the area. You can do whatever you want. Thank you, Old Mo. Old Mo was a super expert who came with the third prince. He was a peak universe domain emperor and had the help of a super universe god artifact. How could the third prince not know what Old Mo was thinking? He chuckled. As the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire, his talent and strength were terrifying. Xinfeng took a step forward and stood in front of Feng Xia. Get lost. The more Xinfeng acted like this, the more disgusted Feng Xia was. Xia, if we do it now, will you still object? Xinfeng wasn't sure if he could get the Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead. If he couldn't, wouldn't he lose the competition? He wouldn't allow himself to lose. The only way was to take Feng Xia on the spot. In that case, it wouldn't matter if he couldn't get the Universal Domain Ancestor Godhead. Xinfeng didn't care about the consequences. So what if the Qianquan sect knew about it? What could he do to her? As the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire, even the Qianquan sect wouldn't dare to kill him. Instantly, Feng Xia understood what he meant, and her face instantly turned cold. Not wanting to continue being entangled, he wanted to walk in another direction, but he was stopped by Xinfeng. Ha ha ha, come on. One could not wait any longer, while the other would rather die than comply. That would depend on who was stronger. And the result. One was a rank 9 Starry Sky cultivator, while the other was a starry sky domain lord. Their strength was clear at a glance. Not to mention, old Mo was standing guard in the distance. Even if someone passed by, old Mo would drive them away or even kill them. Shin Feng, do you know what you are doing right now? Ha ha, of course I know. Xia, I want you. With his powerful strength, he had already taken control of Feng Xia. As long as Feng Xia didn't commit suicide, Shin Feng's chances of success were 100%. Would Feng Xia commit suicide? Feng Xia was extremely afraid right now. She had not expected the other party to really do this. After all, this was the Qiankuan secret ground, the territory of the Qiankuan sect. Even if the other party had the backing of the heaven-devouring empire, how was he going to answer to the Qiankuan sect? The Qiankuan sect will not let you off. Ha 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 ha. Hearing Feng Xia's words, Shin Feng burst out laughing maniacally. If he was afraid of the Qiankuan sect, he wouldn't have done this. Right from the start, Shin Feng had never taken the Qiankuan sect seriously. Even if the old master of the Qiankuan sect were to come down personally, he wouldn't be afraid. The Qiankuan sect might be strong in this small world, but compared to the tens of thousands of other small worlds, they were nothing, let alone the heaven-devouring empire. The two of them weren't even on the same level. A gigantic tent appeared. Shin Feng's intentions were clear. He was going to execute her on the spot. Was she going to commit suicide? Don't come over. Don't come over. Shin Feng laughed coldly. So what if she was a goddess? He was going to make her beg for death later on. Shin Feng chose to ignore it as he approached Feng Xia. Just as the two of them were less than a meter apart, a laughter rang out. Who's there? The moment old Mo heard the voice, he rushed over as well. Looking at the two of them approaching slowly, both old Mo and Shin Feng were surprised. 2 level 8 cultivators? Did the other party have the guts of a leopard? How dare he interfere in their affairs? Who are you guys? Spray of Plum Blossom was extremely frustrated right now. He did not know what was wrong with Longao. Even if he wanted to be the hero to save the damsel in distress, he had to check the other party's status first. He was the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire. If the two of them were to offend someone like this, there would be endless trouble waiting for them in the future. However, Spray of Plum Blossom was a man who valued his friends. Therefore, he had to brace himself and step out. Who we are has nothing to do with you. Shin Feng, I'm just puzzled. You're the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire. How could you do such a despicable thing? If I were you, I'd just kill myself. Living is a waste of time. Shin Feng sneered. As for Spray of Plum Blossom, he did not dare to show the slightest bit of mockery. If he had the chance, he would leave immediately. However, since they had already provoked Shin Feng, he could only brace himself and bear with it. Spray of Plum Blossom truly regarded Longao as a friend. Otherwise, he would not have stepped out this time. In Spray of Plum Blossom's opinion, if Longao could give him a level 9 cosmic godhead, how could an ordinary person do that? Even if they were friends, could they do it? Instead of getting angry, he laughed. The two of you really don't know what's good for you. But don't worry, I'll let the two of you have a good time. Didn't you want to be the hero to save the damsel in distress? Then, I'll let you experience it. I'll take care of the goddess in your hearts, right in front of you. In Shin Feng's opinion, the two of them must have taken the risk to come out because they liked Feng Xia. The more they thought about it, the more excited he felt. He gave old Mo a signal to continue. As for old Mo, he stood there motionlessly. Brother Long, don't be reckless. Even if the two of them joined hands, they would not be a match for a Cosmic Realm Emperor expert. If they acted recklessly, only death would await them. In the face of death, even Spray of Plum Blossom was afraid. Author's note. Copy of Chapter 9. Chapter 1993. Continue? Or give up? Was it worth it to offend the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire for an unrelated person? Originally, Longao didn't want to care, but Shen Feng's way of doing things was really too disgusting. He himself also hated this person very much. As for her beauty, Longao didn't choose to fight because of her beauty. Spray of Plum, leave first. If we leave together. If we stay together. Spray of Plum instantly understood Longao's intention. Since things had already come to this, wouldn't he be looked down upon by others if he chose to back out? With just the two of you? Elder Mo sneered. As the Universal Domain Emperor, he wouldn't be afraid even if his opponent was a cultivator of the same level, let alone a mere level 8 cultivator. Humiliation. Whether it was Elder Mo or Shin Feng, it was obvious that they were humiliating them. How could Longao and Spray of Plum not know this? Attack. Spray of Plum didn't move because Longao knew the difference in strength between them. If Spray of Plum attacked, he wouldn't be able to contend against Elder Mo and Shin Feng. He would blame himself if he harmed his friend. With a stride forward, Longao's figure had already disappeared from where he was before the other party could react. Spatial teleportation? Elder Mo was shocked. Elder Mo didn't expect Lin Fan to be able to teleport. Even if that was the case, so what? Was Lin Fan trying to defeat him with speed? What a joke. When Longao got close, Elder Mo released the forbidden power of the universal domain to suppress Longao. The absolute suppression of power forced Longao to retreat. But it didn't matter. Although he didn't have a universal domain emperor or universal domain ancestor soul slave, he had a universal domain emperor soul slave. This was the reason why Longao dared to attack so recklessly. 10 Starry Sky region emperors took advantage of the situation and surrounded Old Mo. 1 against 10. Under normal circumstances, with Elder Mo's strength as a Starry Sky region emperor, killing 10 Starry Sky region emperors was simply a matter of minutes. But now, the situation was completely different. The 10 Starry Sky domain emperors were all Starry Sky domain emperors. Their strength aside, Elder Mo could not completely destroy all 10 of them in terms of defense. As such, Elder Mo was completely entangled by the 10 Starry Sky domain emperor's soul slaves. You. Shin Feng said you 3 times because he didn't expect his opponent to be so powerful that he could summon dozens of Starry Sky domain emperors. Moreover, his defensive power was so strong that he seemed to be able to ignore Elder Mo's attack. Is this true? Shin Feng couldn't quite believe what he was seeing. If you can defeat me, I will leave immediately. Looking at the arrogant young man, Feng Xia's expression changed again and again. It seemed a little strange. Women liked to play the hero to save the damsel in distress. Although the strength of the other party was not that great, the surprise he gave her was too big. Being able to summon dozens of Starry Sky region emperors at the same time, it was easy to imagine the identity of the other party. What right do you have? Just based on this, 2 Starry Sky domain emperor soul slaves appeared at the same time. There was almost no need to fight, and they had already taken control of Shin Feng. At this time, as long as Longao was willing, he could kill Shin Feng at any time, and Shin Feng would not even have a chance to fight back. Who are you? You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it? Shin Feng couldn't figure out why someone in this world dared to deal with him. As the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire, he was a lofty existence no matter where he went. Not to mention others, even the Starry Sky domain emperors would have to avoid him. They wouldn't dare to provoke him. Could it be that he was dealing with someone from another empire? It shouldn't be. In the vast Starry Sky, there were many powerful empires. In the entire vast Starry Sky, the heaven-devouring empire was definitely not the strongest existence. It hadn't reached the point where it could dominate the Starry Sky. Longao? Shin Feng had never heard of this name, but he was very afraid of death. He smiled and said, Longao, there is no hatred between you and me. Aren't you just interested in Feng Xia? No problem, I choose to give her to you. Elder Mo, let's go. The 10 Starry Sky soul slaves didn't continue to attack and disappeared on the spot. Elder Mo's face was gloomy. How could he be suppressed by a puny level 8 Starry Sky cultivator? If this matter were to spread, where would his face go? See you later. Shinfeng didn't want to stay any longer. He didn't know how many Starry Sky domain emperors the other party had. What if there were 10 more of them? How could he deal with them? Elder Mo might not be afraid, but it was impossible for him not to be. Although he wanted to obtain the goddess in the face of death, Shinfeng chose to retreat. As the saying went, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. As long as he wanted to, he could kill Longao at any time. There was no need to show off and lose his life. Longao did not chase because he had full confidence that he could kill Shinfeng. However, he did not have full confidence that he could kill Elder Hiroshi. Once Elder Hiroshi escaped, the matter of him killing Shinfeng would be leaked out. At that time, he would be in great trouble. Looking at the gradually disappearing figure, Iji sighed. Fortunately, Longao didn't make a move. If he really killed Shinfeng, the two of them could already imagine the consequences. Young master, what is your name? Longao? Many thanks for saving our lives. If you want to obtain the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Godhead, follow me. Ah. Both Iji Mei and Longao were dumbfounded when they heard Feng Xia's words. Both of them weren't fools. They knew what Feng Xia meant by giving them the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Godhead for free. Didn't that mean that Feng Xia had her eyes on Longao? Brother Long, congratulations. You can win the heart of a beauty. F***ck Longao cursed in his heart. He had only wanted to teach the third prince a lesson, but he didn't have the heart to provoke Feng Xia. Before Longao could say anything, Feng Xia said, Follow me. Don't get lost. Iji Mei's face was filled with envy and jealousy. He sighed and followed after Huang Xiaolong. Longao, who was left behind, felt depressed. However, since things had come to this, he could only wait and explain. Although he couldn't accept Feng Xia's words, he could obtain the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Godhead. After all, the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Godhead was very important to him. The two of them followed Feng Xia to a secluded place. She took out the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Godhead and handed it to Longao. Many thanks for saving us. I will wait for you outside. Feng Xia didn't wait for Longao's reply. She turned and left. In a short while, she disappeared without a trace. I really envy you. You just entered the vast universe and you already have such a beauty. Brother Ben Guolong, I advise you to be careful. Shinfeng definitely won't let this matter rest. Author's note. Chapter 10 has been delivered. Everyone, please vote for Longao. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 1994. Since things had come to this, what else could he do? He could only wait until he left the universe secret realm and explain everything to the Cosmos sect. Longao knew that he would be in big trouble if he didn't explain everything clearly. One day later, Feng Qing suddenly received a spiritual consciousness transmission from the old ancestor. Someone had obtained the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead and the universe secret realm was about to end. Who could it be? Could it be Shinfeng? When everyone was teleported out, their faces were filled with confusion. They did not know what had happened. Third Prince, did you not obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead? Feng Qing was shocked when he realized that the third prince did not obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. This was completely out of his expectations. The third prince harumphed coldly but did not say a word. Even though the Cosmos sect was not to be blamed for this, The third prince had already placed all the blame on the Cosmos sect. May I know who obtained the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead? Fong Qing was furious. He did not know which idiot dared to snatch the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. If he had known that this would happen, he would have entered the universe secret realm earlier to help the third prince obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. I'm sorry. I got it by accident. Everyone looked in the direction where the voice came from and saw Longao. Please come up. Even though Fong Qing was furious, he forced himself to suppress his anger. When Longao came up, Fong Qing's heart turned cold. How did a mere grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator manage to obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead? When Xin Feng saw Longao, his face turned even colder as killing intent surged. He was shocked. What did the third prince mean? Did they know each other? At this moment, Xin Feng suddenly said, Master Feng, this person sneaked up on me and snatched the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead from me. This Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead originally belonged to me. Would Fong Qing believe it? Even the others would not believe it, let alone Fong Qing. It was a joke. The strength of the two and Longao were not on the same level. Even if it was a sneak attack, Longao would not succeed. That wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that Xin Feng had insisted that the godhead in Huang Xiaolong's hands belonged to him. If it had been anyone else, the Cosmos sect wouldn't have cared. Who are you? Longao. Fong Qing suppressed the anger in his heart and said with a smile, Longao, since you planned a sneak attack to snatch the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead from the third prince, please hand it over. This Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead should belong to the third prince. My grass. Hearing Fong Qing's words, everyone began to curse in their hearts. He had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen someone so shameless. As the master of the Qiankuan sect, Fong Qing's shamelessness was truly an eye-opener. But thinking about it, everyone understood. After all, the third prince and the heaven-devouring empire were still there. The Qiankuan sect dared to provoke the heaven-devouring empire? It was understandable. Everyone looked at Longao with sympathy. It wasn't easy for him to obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. They had thought that he would be able to devour the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead and win the beauty back. But what was the result? I'm sorry. I have already devoured the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. Everyone wanted to laugh. However, no one was shocked or doubtful. If they were able to obtain the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, they would definitely devour the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead before they could win the beauty back. Fong Qing almost went berserk. That was a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, not some cabbage. However, things had already come to this. Even if he wanted to kill Huang Xiaolong, it wasn't the right time. The Qiankuan sect's reputation was more important. Since that's the case, let's talk about this later. The Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead was obtained by the third prince. Do you have any objections to this? I have objections. Fong Xia walked over and looked coldly at the third prince. After thinking about it, Fong Xia still didn't want to announce what had happened in the Qiankuan secret domain to the world. If she angered the third prince, the consequences would be unimaginable. If the heaven-devouring empire wanted to punish her, even the Qiankuan sect wouldn't be able to stop them. Xia, what do you mean? Father, we have already made it clear. No matter who obtained the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, he would be the winner of the martial competition. Since Longao obtained the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, he is the winner. What did that mean? Could Fong Xia have taken a liking to Longao? Everyone looked at Longao with envy. Not only had he devoured the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, but he had also obtained the beauty's favor. It was a double blessing. Longao, where is the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead? Before Fang Qing could say anything, Fang Xia asked. After all, only the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead could resolve this matter. Otherwise, if the other party couldn't produce the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, both her father and the third prince wouldn't admit it. Longao took out the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead and handed it over to Fang Xia. Everyone understood what was going on. The other party didn't devour the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead. He was obviously trying to win the beauty's heart. Wasn't he trying to snatch the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead from the third prince? He was simply courting death. Moreover, the Qianquan sect was obviously helping the third prince, and not Longao. Longao, what do you mean by this? Longao smiled and didn't say anything. He wasn't going to give the third prince a chance. As for himself, he definitely wouldn't marry Fang Xia. He had to deal with the third prince first. Father, since Longao has obtained the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Godhead, it means that Longao has won the competition. Fang Xia had her eyes on Longao. In her opinion, Shenfeng was only the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire, and not the successor. Compared to Longao, she would still choose Longao over Shenfeng. Third prince? Master Fang, I would like to see what you're going to do today. It was a blatant threat. Shenfeng had already lost all his face. If Longao really got Fang Xia, he wouldn't be able to save his face. Fang Qing was helpless and was in a dilemma. On one side was his daughter and on the other side was the third prince. Fang Qing scolded himself harshly. What should he do? Gritting his teeth, just as Fang Qing was about to give up on the third prince, a figure suddenly appeared in the distance. It was extremely fast and appeared in the blink of an eye. Seeing the old man who had suddenly descended, the third Prince Qianfeng suddenly stood up in pleasant surprise and shouted in pleasant surprise, "Master, why have you come?" The third prince's master, Sha Xing, was a famous existence in the heaven-devouring empire. Everyone was shocked when they saw him. Author's note: Little Nine is going all out. I hope everyone can vote for him. Chapter 1995. Territory Ancestor Sha Xing. Everybody understood that this formidable territory ancestor of the starry sky had come for his disciple. Brother Qianquan, your old brother is here. Aren't you going to come out and meet me? As soon as he said that, a hearty laugh was heard. In the next second, Ancestor Qianquan appeared and said with a smile, "Brother Sha Xing, I apologize for not coming out to meet you. Please take a seat." Sha Xing and Ancestor Qianquan sat down and Sha Xing said with a smile, "My disciple likes Xia, but he didn't expect someone to come out and cause trouble. As his master, if I didn't come out, my disciple's wife would have run away." Fang Xia, who was firm, was surprised to see territory ancestor Sha Xing Qing. What's going on? Fang Qing didn't hesitate and told Ancestor Qianquan everything that had happened. Ancestor Sha Xing snorted coldly. "How can such a person become a member of our Qianquan sect?" Ancestor Qianquan denied Longao's claim. If it was before, Fang Xia would have refuted. But now? Fang Xia didn't say anything as she wanted to see. "Brother Sha Xing, you didn't come just for this, right? Ha ha ha, you're still a sly old fox. I'll get straight to the point. I'm here because of His Majesty." His Majesty? Everyone knew who His Majesty was. He was the Emperor of the heaven-devouring empire, the absolute overlord of tens of thousands of worlds. As long as His Majesty stomped his feet, tens of thousands of worlds would tremble. What's the matter? Ancestor Qianquan didn't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but he had a feeling that territory ancestor Sha Xing's matter was good news. Brother Qianquan, His Majesty values this marriage. He promised that as long as the third prince and Xia get married, Qianquan sect will be the #1 sect in this world. Number 1. Everyone knew what that meant. As long as the marriage was successful, Qian Kuan sect would become the number 1 sect in this world. They would be lying if they said they weren't excited. Brother Qian Kuan, that's not all. Even though the third prince is unable to become the successor of the heaven-devouring empire, he has already been bestowed the title of king. The third prince, Chen Feng, was completely stupefied because he'd never imagined that his imperial father would actually do this for him. His status instantly soared. Master, you don't know, but Xia has already chosen Longao. Retreat in order to advance. Xin Feng wanted to see what Fang Xia's intentions were as well. If Fang Xia were to choose Longao and not give him any face, there was no need for him to show any mercy either. By then, it wouldn't just be this adulterous couple, but the entire Qiankuan sect would be destroyed as well. Fang Xia's expression changed again and again. All of a sudden, she smiled and said, "Senior Sha Xing, old ancestor, father, I didn't know that Longao's godhead was obtained through a scheme. Now that I know, how can I marry a scum like him?" Scum? He didn't know? Fang Xia was completely shocked by how fast she had changed. Was she still the goddess in everyone's heart? Everyone knew what Fang Xia was trying to say. If Sha Xing hadn't appeared, Fang Xia would have definitely chosen Longao. However, her attitude had changed after Sha Xing's appearance. Especially when Sha Xing brought the heaven-devouring empire's message, Fang Xia had completely changed her mind. Fang Xia knew that if she chose Longao and offended the third prince, not only her, but the entire Qiankuan sect would be destroyed. But what if she chose the third prince? The third prince's status was different now. His Imperial Majesty had sent a universal domain ancestor to make a promise. This meant that the third prince's status in the heaven-devouring empire wasn't simple. If she could climb up this big tree, she would be able to go far in the future. Longao smiled. He had never expected Fang Xia to change so quickly. It didn't matter. After all, he wouldn't marry Fang Xia. He had a clear conscience and wasn't letting himself down. Longao, you ambushed me in the Qiankuan secret realm. How do you want to settle this debt? With a backer, Xin Feng wouldn't let Longao off so easily. There was no explanation. Under such circumstances, no matter how much they accepted, it would be pointless. It was understandable that Qiankuan sect and Fang Xia would choose the heaven-devouring empire. Goodbye. Longao didn't want to waste any more words. He felt disgusted, especially by Fang Xia. He wasn't saying that Fang Xia would choose the heaven-devouring empire, but he was disgusted by how quickly she changed her mind. Trying to leave? Xin Feng stood up and sneered. If Longao left the Qiankuan plain at this time, where would he put his face? Where would the Qiankuan sect's face be? Where would the heaven-devouring empire's face be? What do you want? I think it's better for you to never leave. Old Mo, who was behind Xin Feng, suddenly came out to kill. A terrifying murderous aura rolled out. Old Mo and Xin Feng's intention was already very clear, that was to kill Longao and make him stay here forever. Even though everyone in the square looked down on the Qiankuan sect and the third prince, they chose to leave in fear of the other party's strength. What if they were implicated in the conflict? In the blink of an eye, everyone had left. Ji Mei, who was about to attack, heard Longao's message through his spiritual consciousness. He immediately turned around and left with the others. After a while, the square was empty. Spray of Plum Blossom didn't know how Longao was going to leave, but this young man had too many mysteries. Spray of Plum Blossom knew that if Longao wasn't completely confident, he wouldn't do this. Just like that, Spray of Plum Blossom chose to believe him and quickly left with the others. As the Universal Territory Emperor, Elder Mo wasn't afraid of Longao. To show off in front of Sha Xing, Elder Mo used all his strength. But what was the result? Longao was here a moment ago, but now, he had disappeared without a trace. Not only old Mo, but also the others, including the territory ancestor of heaven and earth and the territory ancestor of Sand Star, were dumbstruck. How could he disappear right under their noses? They couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure it out. Brother Qiankuan, where did he come from? A level 8 Starry Sky cultivator could use such a secret skill. His background wasn't simple. Ancestor Qiankuan didn't know who he was. Even Feng Xia and Feng Qing didn't know. He seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Shaking his head helplessly, Ancestor Qiankuan said, "His background is mysterious. Let's seal the Qiankuan Plain and find him." Although they could leave, they were confident that Longao hadn't left the Qiankuan Plain yet. Author's note: here's the 12th chapter. If you still have votes, please vote for Longao. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 1996. Qiankuan Plain Seal. Those who had left had already left, but those who had yet to leave were forced to stay. Due to the threat of Qiankuan's sect and Shinfeng, no one dared to voice their anger. Fortunately, Qiankuan's sect and Shinfeng weren't after them, but Longao. Everyone pitied Longao. Not only did he fail to devour the universe ancestor godhead and get Feng Xia, but he also got himself killed. Offending Qiankuan's sect and Shinfeng was a dead end. Ji Mei, why haven't you left? Ji Mei's cultivation finally broke through the Grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator and reached Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. However, Longao was more or less touched that Ji Mei was able to stay. As a friend, we should leave together and stay together. Ji Mei's attitude was clear. Letting out a deep sigh, Longao was clear that only a true friend could choose to stay despite the threats of the Qiankuan sect, and the third prince could be considered a true friend. Lin Fan didn't dwell on this issue. The most important thing now was to find a way to leave Qiankuan Plain. Longao was almost certain that the Qiankuan Plain was now sealed, and the Qiankuan sect would definitely search for him. However, it would not be easy to find traces of the two of them in the vast sea of people. Brother Long, what should we do now? Ji Mei didn't ask much about Longao's matter. In Ji Mei's opinion, if Longao wanted to tell him, he didn't need to ask. He believed that Longao would take the initiative to tell him. However, if Longao didn't want to tell him, Longao might not tell him even if Ji Mei asked. Friends shouldn't ask questions. Some things should be asked, but some things shouldn't be asked. Let's hide for a while. I believe Qiankuan's sect will give up in less than a month. Since things had come to this was the only choice. Longao's matter had infuriated Qiankuan's sect. Not only did they seal the plain, but they also searched for Longao's whereabouts. Ancestor Qiankuan and Feng Qing thought that it would be easy for Qiankuan's sect to find the two of them. But what was the result? After 3 days and 3 nights, there was still no trace of Longao. Universal Palace. Sha Xing and Shinfeng chose to leave because of the heaven-devouring empire. Even though the two of them did not say much, their intentions were clear. Longao had to die, regardless of whether it was for the reputation of the heaven-devouring empire or the Qiankuan sect. Ancestor Qiankuan, Feng Qing and Feng Xia. Old ancestor, we still haven't found any traces of Longao. I'm afraid that Longao has already left the universe plane. If we continue to seal him like this, it will cause unpredictable losses to our sect. He nodded. How could Ancestor Qiankuan not know about Feng Cheng's worries? Release the seal later. Feng Xia was completely anxious. The incident this time had already caused his reputation to be tarnished. Although no one said anything, everyone would definitely think that he had changed too quickly for the sake of the third prince's status. But could he not choose the third prince? She had never thought that the third prince's status in the heaven-devouring empire would rise so quickly. If Sha Xing had arrived earlier, none of this would have happened. But now that things had come to this, Feng Xia had no regrets. If she followed the third prince into the heaven-devouring empire in the future, she believed that she would be able to go further and higher. No one cared about the process. The only thing that mattered was the outcome. Old ancestor, if we release the seal and Longao hasn't left the universe plane, wouldn't we be giving him a chance? Longao had to die. Death was certain. Your father is right. If we don't release the seal, it will be a huge loss to us. As for Longao, even if he can leave the universe plane, I don't believe that he can escape. If it was just the Qianquan sect alone, it would be troublesome for them to kill Longao. After all, the universe was way too big. But now, the situation was different. With the heaven-devouring empire's kill order, there was no doubt that Longao would be hunted down no matter where he went. Under such a situation, Longao's death was certain. Since the old ancestor had said so, what else could he say? Xia, since you have chosen the third prince, you should prepare yourself. After killing Longao, you should head to the heaven-devouring empire. Remember, make good use of your resources to cultivate. The only remaining godhead was the Universal Territory Ancestor Godhead. As for the Universal Territory Ancestor Godhead that I just gave you, don't leak it out after you devour it. When your cultivation reaches the Universal Territory Ancestor realm, you must find the Universal Overgod Godhead. This was the three of them's true goal. As it turned out, Feng Xia had planned to choose the third prince. Longao was just one of Feng Xia's pawns. She just wanted to create trouble for the third prince. That way, the third prince would feel that he couldn't get the godhead. It was also the reason why Feng Xia wanted to bring Longao to find the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor's godhead. The Universal Territory Ancestor Godhead was something that didn't exist in other places. Only the heaven-devouring empire would have it. If they could obtain it and a Universal Territory Ancestor appeared in the Qianquan sect, the Qianquan sect's status would rise. Tens of thousands of worlds meant that there were tens of thousands of Universal Territory Ancestors. If the heaven-devouring empire could control tens of thousands of Universal Territory Ancestors, it was obvious how strong they were. Old ancestor, don't worry. I will find a way to get the Universal Territory Ancestor Godhead. Ancestor Qianquan seemed to be satisfied with this junior of his. He chuckled and said, "Everyone, don't worry about Longao. Do what you have to do." With Ancestor Qianquan's order, the seal on the Qianquan plane was opened. Everyone started to leave the Qianquan plane. No one could guarantee that the Qianquan sect wouldn't attack them. Seizing this opportunity, Longao and Yi Mei chose to leave the Qianquan world successfully. It was only at this moment that both of them could heave a sigh of relief. Initially, they had thought that Qianquan sect would only choose to give up after a month. However, they had not expected that this time would be shortened to 3 days. "Brother Long, where are you going?" "Looking for my lover." It was too difficult to find Bai Ling and Zi Ling in the vast universe. Moreover, he had no idea where to go. There were countless worlds in the universe. Just the heaven-devouring empire alone had tens of thousands of worlds. "Brother Long, why don't you make a trip to the Starry Sky Market with me first? Let's see if there's anything you need." Author's note: Chapter 13 is here. Chapter 1997. Starry Sky Market. Longao was very clear about Ezesian's intentions. He simply wanted him to try his luck. Every world surface had its own Starry Sky Market. Countless Starry Sky cultivators could come here to exchange or purchase whatever they wanted. The Starry Sky Market was under the watch of the heaven-devouring empire. No one was allowed to fight or even die in the Starry Sky Market. Those who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. No one was willing to offend the heaven-devouring empire. As for the third prince Shinfeng, Longao thought that the heaven-devouring empire would issue a kill order for him after this incident. With the heaven-devouring empire's strength and influence, he would be in deep trouble if they issued a kill order. But what happened? Nothing happened. That's right, nothing happened. Neither the third prince nor the heaven-devouring empire made any move. What was going on? It didn't make sense. However, Longao didn't dwell on it. The reason was simple. Since the heaven-devouring empire didn't do anything, he could heave a sigh of relief. The Starry Sky Market was actually a high-grade world surface. There were no factions in this world surface. Anyone could enter to trade or buy anything. Out of the tens of thousands of worlds, the Starry Sky Market was probably the safest. There were no fights or deaths here. The two stepped into the Starry Sky Market. Brother Long, don't think that you can't buy or exchange anything here. I can tell you that you can get anything you want here as long as you have enough Starry Sky God Sparks. He didn't know if it was because there were too many Starry Skies cultivators, but no matter where one went in the vast Starry Skies, the common currency was Starry Skies godhood. Longao counted. He had about 100 Starry Sky God Sparks. However, in the vast universe, he wasn't considered rich. The common currency was the Starry Sky God Sparks. This was clearly encouraging cultivators to kill each other. If you wanted to trade or buy something, you needed the Starry Sky God Sparks. Would the Starry Sky God Sparks just fall from the sky? Otherwise, you could snatch them. Otherwise, he could kill cultivators in the Starry Sky and refine the Starry Sky Godhead. The Starry Sky Market wasn't big. It was about 1/10,000th of the universe surface. There were shops everywhere. There were all sorts of Starry Sky God equipment, Starry Sky martial techniques, and even other things. It was a dazzling sight. Longao chuckled. Spray of Plum Blossom said mysteriously, "Brother Dragon, what do you want?" He shook his head. Longao suddenly said, "Ijue Mei, to be honest, I only came from a sealed mid-level plane. This time, I only have two purposes for coming here. First, to find my wife. Second, to find the Reincarnation Clan." Of course, Spray of Plum knew about the search for his wife. However, this was the first time he had heard Longao say something like this. Aren't you shocked? He was so shocked that he was speechless. This was because he knew better than anyone what it meant to return to the clan. It was an existence that only existed in legends. He left with Longao and found a quiet place. He asked impatiently, "Brother Long, tell me the truth. Why are you looking for reincarnation?" Even though Iji Mei was his friend, Longao didn't intend to tell him the truth. He only smiled and said, "Back then, I accidentally obtained a reincarnation sword. I heard that it was a treasure that could open up the Reincarnation Clan, so I wanted to try and see if this reincarnation sword could open up the Reincarnation Clan." He wasn't surprised at all, because Longao's explanation was flawless. "Brother Long, I believe you know what it means to return to the clan. Even if you want to do it, you must do it secretly. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Iji Mei, tell me about the Reincarnation Clan." Iji Mei was a native, so he must know more than Longao. Longao knew nothing except that the Reincarnation Clan was very powerful. He was very emotional. Iji Mei thought for a while and said, "Brother Long, countless years ago, an indigenous race in the universe suddenly rose to power. They swept through almost all realms at a very fast speed. The indigenous race in the universe should be the Reincarnation Clan." Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. The forces of all realms, including the empires, seemed to feel a sense of danger. In the end, everyone joined forces to deal with the Reincarnation Clan, but it was to no avail. However, the astral ruler appeared in the end and led countless cultivators to suppress the Reincarnation Clan. Unexpectedly, the astral ruler of the Reincarnation Astral Ruler suddenly appeared in the Reincarnation Astral Ruler. The Reincarnation Clan also had an astral ruler? Longao was very shocked because he knew very well what it meant to be an astral ruler. The 12 astral rulers of the vast universe were the astral ruler of the 5 elements astral ruler, the devouring astral ruler, the lightning astral ruler, the space astral ruler, the time astral ruler, the destruction astral ruler, the reincarnation astral ruler, the massacre astral ruler, the divination astral ruler, the sword will astral ruler, the indestructible tyrant body astral ruler, and the darkness astral ruler. Longao never thought that the reincarnation astral ruler was from the reincarnation clan. Did the reincarnation astral ruler want to dominate the entire vast universe? The reincarnation astral ruler was too powerful. She fought against 10,000 people alone, and was not afraid of the other astral rulers. In this way, the war lasted for hundreds of years. In the end, the reincarnation clan was still no match for the entire universe and lost. They suffered heavy losses and almost perished. Left with no choice, the reincarnation astral ruler chose to self-destruct. All the astral rulers at that time died. Not only that, but for some unknown reason, the other astral rulers also died at the same time. It turned out that this was the real reason for the death of the 12 astral rulers. It was hard to imagine how powerful the reincarnation astral ruler and the reincarnation clan were at that time. They were able to contend against the entire vast universe. Even if they were defeated in the end, the strength of the reincarnation clan had already shown everyone that once the reincarnation clan rose again, without the obstruction of the astral rulers, who would be a match for the reincarnation clan? Brother Long, it is said that the reincarnation clan has been sealed. Not to mention the ordinary cultivators of the starry sky, even the great empires of the universe cannot find them. However, it has been so long that the reincarnation clan has gradually been forgotten. If you speak of it openly, you will definitely get yourself killed. So that was the case. Since things were so troublesome, Longao chose to give up for the time being because he knew very well that his strength was not enough to deal with the trouble. The most important thing now was to improve his strength as soon as possible. Once he was strong enough, he would find a way to find the traces of the reincarnation clan. After all, he had the key to open the reincarnation clan. P.S. The first chapter has been delivered. Today's votes are really low. Little 9 will release 10 chapters today. I hope everyone will work hard. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 1998. He didn't continue to dwell on the matter of reincarnation. Longao had already decided to postpone the matter of returning to the clan. He would look for Bai Ling and Xiling first. He would look for the reincarnation clan after he became stronger. Longao and Spray of Plum Blossom began to stroll around. When it came to treasures, luck was the most important factor. Longao also wanted to test his luck and see if he could find any treasures. Brother Long, what are you doing? Let's go in and have a look. Let's not go in. Why? Longao was quite curious as to why Ijime had stopped him. He raised his head and looked around. The shop wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small either. It had a very cliché name, Fate. Spray of Plum Blossom said helplessly, "Brother Dragon, you don't know. There are countless shops in the Starry Sky Market, but only this shop is full of junk. Didn't you notice? No one has ever entered this shop." If he hadn't mentioned it, he wouldn't have known. Now that he had mentioned it, it really was the case. The surrounding shops were bustling with activity. Only this Fate shop was almost empty. The more it was like this, the more Longao wanted to go in and take a look. Let's go. He felt a little helpless. Ijime knew Longao's personality very well. Once he had decided on something, he would not change his mind. The interior of the Fate shop was even more dilapidated than the outside. There were only a few counters scattered about, and the items inside were all scrap metal. No wonder there were no guests. Longao was a little amused and began to walk around. Since it was fate, it would depend on his luck. He came to the third counter. Inside the counter, there was a piece of black iron. It looked like a piece of black iron. If you like it, you can take a look. It only costs 3 rank 9 cosmic godheads. What? 3 rank 9 godheads? You might as well rob them. Upon hearing the old man's words, before Ao Long could say anything, Spray of Plum Blossom was completely enraged. Could it be that the two of them were easily fooled? 3 rank 9 starry sky godheads could be exchanged for any treasure, yet they were used to exchange for a black iron fragment. Was it worth it? It wasn't worth it at all. Not to mention the two of them, even a fool wouldn't be fooled. Anyone could see that the black iron fragments on the counter weren't worth 3 rank 9 godheads. Even if they were offered for free, no one would want them. The old man smiled but didn't say anything. He just looked at Longao, and Longao looked at the black iron fragments on the counter. Brother Long, let's go. There's not much meaning in this place. I'll bring you to find something good. Longao shook his head. Taking out 5 godheads from his bosom, Huang Xiaolong said, I only have 2 rank 9 godheads left. I'll use 3 rank 8 godheads to replace 1 rank 9 godhead, is that okay? Brother Long. Waving his hand, Longao stopped Yi Mei and said, I know what to do. Senior, can I? Senior? There wasn't the slightest fluctuation of aura coming from the old man. He was just a small rank 1 starry sky cultivator. Emerald Plum Blossom felt helpless. Longao had taken out 5 godheads in one go, and 2 of them were rank 9 and rank 8 godheads to exchange for a piece of black iron fragment. He was simply a fool. Sure. The old man took out the black iron fragment from the counter and took away the 5 godheads. Do you need anything else? No need. Longao took the black iron fragment and left with Yi Mei as if he couldn't wait any longer. Inside Fate Shop, the old man looked at the two leaving and said with a smile, Stinky brat, you know your stuff. Since the fragment has been taken, the next step can begin. Brother Long, is it worth it to spend 5 godheads to buy a black iron fragment? Yes. Yi Mei didn't continue asking, and Longao didn't say anything either. Look, isn't that Longao? Yes. That's great. If we can capture Longao and hand him over to Qianquan's sect, we'll be rewarded handsomely. The heaven-devouring empire might not have issued a kill order, but Qianquan's sect had already announced that anyone who could capture or kill Longao would be rewarded handsomely. With such a huge reward, there were bound to be brave men. Everyone was frantically searching for Longao. However, no one dared to make a move in the starry sky market. After all, no one dared to offend the heaven-devouring empire. Brother Long, we seem to be targeted. How could Longao not know? He smiled and said, Yi Mei, Qianquan's sect is very powerful in this world. If they issue a kill order, someone will definitely notice us. However, we can't reject a good thing that's delivered to us. Longao could clearly sense that there were dozens of people following the two of them, and the strongest among them was only a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Such a good thing, if he missed it, he would never forgive himself. More than 10 people, once they successfully refined a starry sky godhead, they would have 10 starry sky godheads, and 2 of them would be able to refine rank 9 starry sky godhead. Yi Mei's cultivation had already broken through to grade 9. Under normal circumstances, he might not even be a match for the other party in a one-on-one fight, let alone 1 against 10. However, Yi Plum Blossom was not worried at all. Although the Dragon Brothers were only grade 8 starry sky cultivators, they were very powerful. Not to mention starry sky cultivators of the same grade, they could even kill a grade 9 starry sky cultivator with ease. Brother Long, if that's the case, why don't we leave the starry sky market first? If we stay here, they won't dare to do anything. How could Longao not know the rules of the starry sky market? The heaven-devouring empire had clearly stated that within the tens of thousands of world surfaces, no matter which starry sky market it was, fights and deaths were prohibited. Once someone broke the rules, they would be killed without mercy. Under the deterrence of the heaven-devouring empire, no one dared to violate the rules. As long as the two of them didn't leave the starry sky market, these people wouldn't stop. Longao shook his head and said, "We don't need to do this. Wait until we're done strolling around and leave the starry sky market." Since Longao had said so, what else could Mei say? He shrugged helplessly and said with a smile, "I hope they don't give up." The dozens of people who were following the two of them did not put Longao and Mei in their eyes at all. This was because there were 2 starry sky cultivators and 4 starry sky cultivators in their team. If they still could not kill the 2 of them, then they could just commit suicide together. How could the dozens of people give up so easily? They kept following the 2 of them. Under the huge temptation, the dozens of people were on full alert. They didn't dare to relax for even a moment. If the 2 of them escaped, the rewards would be gone. P.S. Send the second chapter here. Chapter 1999. Longao and Mei did not care at all. They continued to shop leisurely. However, other than the black iron shards, Longao did not seem to be interested in anything else. Heaven and Earth sect had spies in the market. Without a doubt. In less than a day, Heaven and Earth sect received news that Longao was in the market. The leader of the Qiankuan sect, Fang Qing, led thousands of elders, protectors, and disciples towards the starry sky market. In order to kill Lin Fan in one shot, Heaven and Earth sect chose to move secretly. Even Heaven and Earth sect did not dare to do anything in the market without the orders of the Heaven-devouring empire. Even if the Heaven-devouring empire wanted to protect Lin Fan, they had to give an explanation. Heaven and Earth sect would not go against the rules of the Heaven-devouring empire. They guarded the entrance. People in the plain could only leave and not enter. 3 days later, Brother Long, I feel that something is amiss. If Heaven and Earth sect knows that you are here, won't they come for you? Longao laughed. It's too late. Based on my guess, Heaven and Earth sect should already be outside. However, due to the rules of the Heaven-devouring empire, they don't dare to barge in. He was shocked. However, Mei did not have any doubts because he knew very well that once Qiankuan sect knew that Longao was here, they would definitely come in large numbers. Whether it was for the face of Heaven and Earth sect or for the face of Sha Xing and the third prince, Lin Fan was in deep trouble. Brother Long, aren't you worried at all? What is there to worry about? We will take it one step at a time. I don't believe that Heaven and Earth sect can do whatever they want. Couldn't they? Mei knew how strong Heaven and Earth sect was. In the tens of thousands of worlds or the entire universe, Heaven and Earth sect was nothing. However, in this world, Heaven and Earth sect was definitely in the top 10. How could the 2 of them go against Heaven and Earth sect? Looking at Mei's expression, Longao knew what he was worried about. He laughed. Don't worry, I will play with Heaven and Earth sect this time. Although he trusted Longao, Mei was still worried. This was a huge matter. If he was not careful, he would be in deep trouble. Subsequently, when the 2 of them arrived at the entrance, they didn't leave and just stood there. What did Longao mean by this? Longao was amused as he said, Mei, help me. If there are no accidents, we will be able to counterattack in a few days. Since things had come to this point, they could only choose to support Longao. Formation. Longao was clear that with his current strength, there was no way he could go against the entire Qiankuan sect. There was no need to talk about Qiankuan sect, even a random starry sky domain lord would cause him a lot of trouble. There was no need to fight head-on with Heaven and Earth sect. After thinking for a long time, Longao was preparing to set up the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation along with 10 other powerful formations. This way, even a Starry Sky Domain Lord would die without a doubt if they were trapped in the formation. As for the Starry Sky Domain Emperor or Starry Sky Domain Lord, there was nothing he could do. However, Longao was confident that even if Qianquan sect sent out the Starry Sky Domain Emperor or Starry Sky Domain Lord, it wouldn't be easy for them to kill him. With the dragon seal in hand, the world was his. After a full 7 days, Longao finally succeeded. As for Yi Mei, he was shocked. He had not expected Longao to be an array master. A grade 8 array master could make use of the formation to deal with a Starry Sky Domain Lord. But even so, he couldn't go against the entire Qianquan sect. But since things had come to this, Yi Mei didn't say much. The show is about to begin. Longao took a step forward, and his entire person was already outside the plane. Before anyone could react, he retreated back again. Father, Longao. Fang Xia didn't need to say anything. Fang Qing had already seen Longao. He believed that Longao had seen them too. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't have retreated so quickly. If Longao had been hiding in the Starry Sky Market, they wouldn't have been able to enter, let alone kill Longao. So what if they could enter? Due to the rules of the heaven-devouring empire, even if Qianquan sect entered, they wouldn't be able to kill Longao. What should they do? Wait. In the end, Fang Qing sent out 2 grade 9 Starry Sky cultivators and a Starry Sky Domain Lord to see if there was a chance. After all, if they couldn't hold it in and killed Longao, even if the heaven-devouring empire didn't pursue the matter, they would have to deal with Qianquan sect. Wufeng led the 2 grade 9 Starry Sky cultivators into the Starry Sky Market. He didn't put Longao in his eyes at all. A mere grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator actually needed 3 grade 9 Starry Sky cultivators. What a joke. But since their master had already said so, the 3 of them had no choice. The moment the 3 of them stepped into the Starry Sky world, they entered Longao's 9 heavens 10 earths killing array. Waves of killing intent surged towards them. As the 3 experts of Qianquan sect, they naturally knew what was going on. It's actually an array. The 3 of them didn't expect Longao to be an array master. How could a mere grade 8 Starry Sky array master be a match for them? An entire day and night passed. The 3 of them didn't return. No one from Qianquan sect knew what was going on. Fang Cheng's face turned gloomy. He had a bad premonition. Did the 3 of them die? Father, should we go in personally? The more Longao acted like this, the more Fang Xia wanted to kill Longao. She knew that if she could bring Longao's corpse to the heaven-devouring empire, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. Because of this, Fang Xia couldn't wait any longer. How could Fang Qing not understand his daughter's intentions? He thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "All of you be careful. Once you're inside, be careful. Try to control Longao as quickly as possible. As for the heaven-devouring empire, I'll leave it to you, Xia." There was no other way. As long as Longao didn't die, he would always be a huge threat. Moreover, his daughter wanted to give him a gift. If Longao didn't die, how could she do so? Thousands of people rushed in. However, Longao didn't activate the array. He wanted to wait for the best opportunity to catch the Qianquan sect by surprise. After everyone entered, Longao and Yi Mei appeared at the entrance. He smiled and said, "Sorry, you guys missed the best opportunity. I'll be leaving the Starry Sky Market now. Bye-bye." With that, Longao turned and left. Before anyone could react, the 2 of them disappeared without a trace. P.S. Everyone, please don't scold me. I had some urgent matters to attend to and will only be back at 9 p.m. Today's explosion will be shifted to tomorrow. No one can guarantee that nothing will happen. Chapter 2000. They were tricked again. No matter how dumb they were, they knew that Longao was doing it on purpose. Did Longao know that they were waiting outside? If that was the case, there was only one reason why Longao didn't leave. He was fearless. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. A grade 8 cultivator dared to challenge the Qiankuan sect. He was courting death. If they couldn't kill Longao, not only would they lose face, they wouldn't be able to answer to the third prince. The most important thing now was to chase after Lin Fan. Under Fang Cheng's lead, everyone chased after Lin Fan crazily. Before they could leave the plain, they were trapped by the 9 heavens 10 earths killing array. This is an array. Be careful. Fang Qing and Fang Xia were stunned. They didn't expect Lin Fan to be a cultivator. No wonder he was so fearless. This also explained why the 3 Starry Sky cultivators he had sent had disappeared for no reason. A Starry Sky array master couldn't be judged by normal standards. Whether it was 1 against 10,000 or killing those above their level, a Starry Sky array master was more than capable. Even though the 9 heavens 10 earths killing array was powerful, it couldn't trap Fang Qing and the others. About 10 minutes later, Fang Qing and the others had already broken out of the formation, and they had not lost a single person. Even so, their faces were still very gloomy, as ugly as they could be. Pass down the kill order. No matter who it is, as long as they can kill Longao or capture Longao, they will receive a favor from the Qiankuan sect and a Starry Sky Domain Emperor's godhead. Yes, master. Fang Qing was enraged. No one had dared to challenge the Qiankuan sect in all these years. Moreover, the person who challenged them wasn't a Starry Sky Domain Emperor or Starry Sky Domain Ancestor. He was just a grade 8 cultivator. Longao and Ji Mei actually didn't go far. The two of them were quite bold. They stood at a hidden spot in the distance and quietly watched the angry crowd. Even now, Zebra Plum was still a little distracted. Longao was too arrogant. Following Longao was simply too stimulating. Her little heart couldn't take it at all. If it had been anyone else, even the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, they would have run away immediately. But what was the result? Not only did Longao not flee, he even stopped to observe the people from the Qiankuan sect. Seeing that the Qiankuan sect members had left, Ji Mei heaved a sigh of relief. Brother Long, the people from Qiankuan sect have left. Let's go as well. Longao shook his head, giving him a taste of his own medicine. If I don't return the favor, I will be letting down heaven and earth sect. Huh? Spray of Plum Blossom was shocked to hear Longao's words. Brother Long, don't tell me that you want to go to the Qiankuan sect and cause trouble for them? That's what I was thinking. He was completely stunned. Even though he believed in Longao's trump cards, he knew that it was impossible for him to go against the entire Qiankuan sect. He did not know what Longao was thinking. Was Longao not afraid of death? Spray of Plum Blossom, let's part ways for now. Once I settle the Qiankuan sect, I will look for you. Spray of Plum Blossom was no fool. He knew that Longao was doing this for his own good. However, he shook his head firmly. Longao, since we are friends, you don't have to say such things. Spray of Plum Blossom, listen to me. I have the ability to teleport. Even if I am not a match for the Qiankuan sect, I can choose to leave anytime. If you go. With that, Longao did not continue. However, the meaning behind his words was clear. Spray of Plum Blossom understood. Thinking about it, he felt that this was the case. However, he was still worried. Brother Long, you must be careful. Yes, let's go. Without continuing to hesitate, Longao took a stride forward and his figure had already disappeared without a trace. Ever since the battle in the Starry Sky Market, the Qiankuan sect was enraged. They issued a kill order. If he was dead, they wanted to see his corpse. Who in the world was Longao? Why did he dare to provoke the Qiankuan sect? While everyone was puzzled, news of Longao causing a ruckus in the Qiankuan sect started to spread. Those who heard the news raised their thumbs. It was rare to see someone who dared to provoke the Qiankuan sect. It was no wonder the Qiankuan sect was so angry. No matter who it was, they would be angrier than the Qiankuan sect. A universal domain, emperor godhead, and a favor from the Qiankuan sect. Under these temptations, many people started to search for Longao. However, no one expected that Longao did not escape. Instead, he headed towards the Qiankuan world plane. The most dangerous place was the safest place. Longao knew that even if he beat the Qiankuan sect to death, they would not expect him to come to the Qiankuan world plane. In this case, even if he couldn't destroy the Qiankuan sect and was no match for them, when it came to assassination, who under the 9th grade starry sky realm could be his match? Almost none. This way, he would be able to take revenge for himself. The Qiankuan world plane was one of the bigger worlds among the countless smaller worlds. Moreover, the Qiankuan sect's strength was enough to be ranked in the top 10 world. This was what the Qiankuan sect was proud of. However, after the incident with the third prince and Longao, the Qiankuan sect's reputation hit rock bottom. Especially Feng Xia. She was originally a goddess, but now, she was labeled as a sinister woman. She wanted to marry the third prince and live in a rich family, but she did such a thing. Qiankuan world plane. It had been a day and a night, but they still couldn't find any trace of Longao. Even if Feng Qing was a fool, he knew that this person was not simple. Father, do you think that Longao is sent from another world plane to cause trouble? An individual wouldn't dare to do this unless he had a strong backer. Moreover, he was just a small level 8 starry sky cultivator. If he didn't have a backer, how could he have so many life-saving things? After thinking about it, Feng Xia finally concluded that Longao wasn't alone. It was very likely that he came from another world. In the vast starry sky, although there were countless interfaces, there were also countless planes. However, each plane was hostile to each other. For example, in front of the universe, there were also many powerful enemies. Not only the planes of this interface, but also the planes of other interfaces. After thinking about it, Feng Qing nodded in agreement and said, "Xia, your analysis is right. However, we can't be sure which world Longao came from for him to use such despicable means. Now, no matter what, we have to deal with Longao first. This way we can save some of our reputation. Otherwise, we will be laughed at by other worlds." Until now, the two of them still thought that Longao was deliberately causing trouble. P.S. The first chapter has been delivered. Is everyone angry? There was indeed an emergency yesterday. Today, the 11th chapter is Little Nine's apology. Brothers who have votes, please vote for Little Nine. Chapter 2001. Father, what I'm worried about is that if Longao hides, we'll be in big trouble. How could Feng Qing not know what his daughter meant? But he was helpless in such a situation. At this moment, "Master, something bad has happened." Seeing the elder in such a state, Feng Qing asked curiously, "What happened?" Feng Qing knew that if it wasn't something serious, the elder wouldn't have lost his composure. "Master, in just one night, we've lost more than 1,000 men and all the corpses are outside Qiankuan Peak." "What?" Feng Qing was stunned. Both Feng Qing and Feng Xia knew very well what the elder was talking about. Both of them disappeared and appeared outside the peak. Not just the two of them, even old Master Qiankuan was there. Looking at the corpses on the ground, the three of them knew what was going on. Other than Longao, who else could it be? Courting death. The three of them didn't expect that Longao would come back. Moreover, he had entered the universe plane. They had seen arrogant people, but they had never seen such an arrogant person. "Chung'er, no matter what you do, you have to catch this man." Remember, don't kill him. Yes, old master. Fong Qing knew that the old master was really angry. The more it was so, the more he didn't dare to be careless. If he didn't settle this well, he would be in big trouble. At the very least, the old master wouldn't let him off. The first step was to seal Qiankuan Plain. Under normal circumstances, even Qiankuan sect wouldn't seal a plain so casually. This was because everyone knew what it meant to seal a plain. The previous incident wasn't over yet and now it was happening again. This made everyone nervous, not knowing what was going on. There was no such thing as a wall that didn't have a crack. Gradually, everyone received news that someone had provoked Qiankuan sect and killed more than 1,000 of them in one night. There were even level 9 cultivators among them. This was the reason why Qiankuan sect had to seal the plain. It was understandable. As the absolute overlord of the Qiankuan world, if the Qiankuan sect wasn't able to capture this person in their own territory, their reputation would definitely be tarnished. Who was it? To think that he would be so unafraid of death. Even though Qiankuan sect did not leak out the news, there were still people who could guess who it was. If there were no surprises, the person who provoked Qiankuan sect should be Longao, who had wreaked havoc in Qiankuan sect back then. A miraculous kid. He was merely a grade 8 cultivator, and yet he dared to provoke Qiankuan sect. Something that had never happened before. Everyone, listen to my orders. Do your best to track down Longao's whereabouts. Fong Qing wasn't the only one. Everyone from Qiankuan sect felt as though they had just been slapped in the face. Heaven and Earth sect was furious. The Qiankuan Plain was the headquarters of the Qiankuan sect. With a single order, no one would dare to disobey. Millions of disciples were searching for Longao at the same time. Even the affiliated sects of Qiankuan sect and other sects had to help. Regardless of whether they were willing or not, under the threat of Qiankuan sect, they could only help. It was a huge commotion. Under normal circumstances, if Qiankuan sect were to search on such a large scale, they would definitely be able to find him in the shortest amount of time. But in the end, Longao was hiding in the dragon seal space. It was practically impossible for anyone to find him. Not only that, Longao didn't sit around and wait for his death. This time, he took the risk to step into the Qiankuan Plain so that he could give them a taste of their own medicine. If he were to continue hiding in the dragon seal space, why would he step into the Qiankuan Plain in the first place? However, Longao wasn't prepared to deal with Qiankuan sect directly. He would first target the other sects in the Qiankuan Plain, especially those who were helping Qiankuan sect to deal with him. In order to achieve absolute dominance, under normal circumstances, Qiankuan sect wouldn't allow any sect to have a universal domain emperor. This meant that the strongest person in the Qiankuan Plain would only be a universal domain lord. As such, Longao wouldn't be obstructed at all. This was because he didn't want to drag things out and wanted to end the battle quickly. He immediately mobilized his soul slave army. Under the attack of the terrifying soul slave army, not to mention ordinary cultivators, even a universal domain lord wouldn't be able to defend against it. Longao's speed was extremely fast. It was as though he was engaging in guerrilla warfare. After destroying a sect, he would leave immediately. The distance between the north, south, east and west was extremely large. In a short span of one day and one night, Longao destroyed a total of several dozen sections. To Qiankuan sect, destroying tens of sects was nothing. As long as the sect didn't suffer any losses, everything would be fine. However, the situation now was different. By destroying tens of sects, Longao was provoking Qiankuan sect. At the same time, he was warning everyone that if anyone dared to help Qiankuan sect, there would only be one outcome: destruction. Just as expected, Longao's deterrence really worked because no one was willing to be destroyed. Everyone was afraid of death. However, these so-called small sects could be said to be riding a tiger and unable to get off. They were in a dilemma and didn't know how to choose. If they chose to continue helping Qiankuan's sect, they would be destroyed by Longao. If they chose not to help Qiankuan's sect and just watched from the sidelines, Qiankuan's sect would definitely not be willing. In comparison, Qiankuan's sect was even scarier. In other words, no matter which side they chose, they would definitely die. Everyone was depressed to the extreme. Who did they offend? Why did they have to face such a calamity out of nowhere? How should they choose? Should they choose Qiankuan's sect or Longao? Longao wouldn't give these people a chance. He still didn't stop his footstep. In the four directions of north, south, east and west, he killed whoever he didn't like. However, Longao didn't kill the innocent. Those sects who had stopped searching for him didn't move at all. However, those who continued to search didn't have the slightest bit of courtesy. Wherever the soul slave army passed by, not even a blade of grass grew. In just a few days, more than 30 sects had already been destroyed, causing all the sects in the universe plane to be in chaos. Because Longao was like a killing god, wherever he passed by, no sect could be left unscathed, all of them were destroyed. Everyone was in a state of panic. No one knew if they would be the next. What if it was their turn? How could they defend against Longao's destruction? Qiankuan's sect, Father, I can almost guarantee that Longao must have come from another world. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a huge army. How could Fong Qing not know what his daughter meant? Longao was not a single person, and this was not something that a single person could do. According to the witnesses, Longao had brought tens of thousands of Starry Sky Army, and had majestically destroyed one sect after another. No one could stop him. P.S. Send the second chapter here. Chapter 2002. Till now, we still don't know where Longao is from. Furthermore, he doesn't want to fight us head-on. This is troublesome. Ethereal. Under normal circumstances, there was no way Longao would be able to hide from him with an army of tens of thousands. But what was the result? After so many days, he didn't even know where Lin Fan was. Was this for real? He didn't want to believe it. This was a humiliation to Qiankuan's sect, a humiliation to Qiankuan's sect. This is going to be troublesome. No matter how much he didn't want to believe it, Fong Qing had to accept it. If they were to fight head-on, he wouldn't be afraid. He was only afraid of Longao using guerrilla tactics. Let alone fighting, he wouldn't even be able to see Lin Fan's shadow. Fong Qing wasn't the only one. Even Fong Xia had not expected that a random person she found would cause such trouble. Was she the one who schemed against Lin Fan, or was Lin Fan the one who schemed against her? This was a huge loss. Father, what should we do now? Continue to seal the world. Seems like we'll have to do it ourselves. Without a choice, Fong Qing left Qiankuan's sect with all the elders and guardians to look for Longao personally. A huge battle was about to break out. Longao still didn't choose to fight head-on. Instead, he chose guerrilla tactics. However, this time around, he was prepared to deal a huge blow to Qiankuan's sect. Even if Qiankuan's sect had Star Territory ancestor, Longao was still prepared to take the risk. In order to deal a fatal blow to Qiankuan's sect, Longao summoned 20,000 overspace soul slave. This was the so-called Space Soul Slave Army as they swarmed forward. Ancestor Qiankuan, who was in seclusion, sensed that something was wrong. He immediately released his Star Territory forbidden energy. However, it was too late. Longao wanted to kill Ancestor Qiankuan in a single strike. How could he give Ancestor Qiankuan a chance to react? In just a few minutes, Qiankuan's sect was almost destroyed. They had lost tens of thousands of people. Before Ancestor Qiankuan could even come out, Longao had already led the Star Territory Soul Slave Army into the Dragon Seal space. It was empty. There wasn't even a shadow. However, Ancestor Qianquan was certain that this was the doing of Longao. Rage. Endless anger. He didn't expect that Longao would actually attack Qianquan's sect. This was simply a provocation to the sect. He didn't even place him in his eyes at all. Even if his uncle could tolerate it, his aunt couldn't. The secret cave could tolerate it, but not his chrysanthemum. Longao, I will tear you to shreds. No one answered. Fang Qing, who was trying his best to find Longao, suddenly received the news and immediately chose to return. Looking at the dazzling lineup of the sect that no longer resembled a human, Fang Qing's face was very ugly, as gloomy as it could get. Ever since the establishment of the Qianquan sect, nothing like this had ever happened before. Not to mention a puny grade 8 starry sky cultivator, even sects from other positional planes would not dare to do such a thing. Which plane was this sect from? Until now, Fang Qing still didn't know which plane's sect wanted to deal with him. Know thyself and know thy enemy, and thou shalt win every battle. He didn't even know who the enemy was. Failure. It was a failure among failures. Old Ancestor, it's obvious that Longao did it on purpose. He lured us out first before dealing with the sect. Fang Qing and Fang Xia couldn't understand. Even if Longao had tens of thousands of troops, it wouldn't be easy for him to destroy the sect in front of their old ancestor. With their old ancestor's strength, how could the Starry Sky Territory ancestor allow Longao to do as he pleased? What had happened? Since their old ancestor didn't say anything, the two of them didn't dare to ask. At this moment, their old ancestor's face was unusually gloomy. However, after thinking about it, they understood. The sect was almost destroyed right under their nose. To their old ancestor, this was a great humiliation. If I don't kill Longao, I'm not a human. Qianquan Peak was destroyed. However, with Qianquan sect's strength, it was just a matter of minutes for them to rebuild Qianquan Peak. They didn't care about the destruction of the peak, they cared about the humiliation. The news of Longao attacking Qianquan sect had spread across the entire Qianquan world. Everyone who heard the news was shocked. This Motherf Kerr was too daring. Did he want to die? Qianquan sect had a Starry Sky Territory ancestor. Longao was definitely going to die if he went there recklessly. But what was the result? No one had expected that Longao would be able to escape unscathed after attacking Qianquan sect. He had even destroyed Qianquan Peak along the way. If it wasn't for Qianquan sect spreading the news, no one would have believed it. It was too shocking. Until now, there were still many who didn't believe it. After all, Longao and Qianquan sect weren't on the same level. The difference between the two was too big. Fang Qing and the others had just returned to Qianquan sect when Longao started destroying the smaller sections, one after another. He was even faster than before. It was as though he was rushing for time. When Fang Qing and the others received the news, they were extremely exasperated. This was because Longao was obviously playing with guerrilla warfare. The more he did this, the more it showed that Longao's strength was lacking. He did not dare to go against Qianquan sect head-on. The reason why Longao dared to do this was because he had a powerful weapon. Fang Qing and the others had already guessed that Longao wasn't doing this alone. He was being ordered by someone. This meant that there was a world supporting him. As for which world was supporting him, no one knew. However, Fang Qing and the others knew that if this carried on, Qianquan world would be destroyed. Even if Qianquan sect wasn't afraid of Longao, their reputation would hit rock bottom. By then, other worlds would take advantage of this and they would lose face. They had to get rid of Longao as soon as possible. The longer this dragged on, the worse it would be for Qianquan sect. Qiankuan's sect increased their efforts and ordered everyone to start searching for Longao. Anyone who didn't follow the orders would be killed without mercy. Under such a strong deterrence, no one dared to go against Qiankuan's sect's orders. They braced themselves and started searching for Longao. However, many of them were worried that Longao would target them next. By then, even if they were destroyed, Qiankuan's sect wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Just as expected, the more they tried their best to search for Longao, the faster they were destroyed. Because of this, all the sects were completely dumbfounded. No matter which side they chose, they would all die. At the very least, the Qiankuan sect could still see them. As for Longao, he was like a ghost that would appear out of nowhere. Helpless, all the sects chose to stop searching for Longao. Since they were going to die anyway, they might as well go against Qiankuan sect head-on. If the seal of Qiankuan world was broken, they might as well leave. P.S. Copy of Chapter 3. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.